JB, the remnants of Hurricane Hannah moved through Baltimore yesterday, leaving a spectacular day today for opening weekend in the NFL as the Cincinnati Bengals play the Baltimore Ravens. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone, wherever you may be, along with former NFL MVP Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan. Thank you so much for joining us. There was a coaching change in Baltimore this past offseason. Let go Brian Billick, and in his place, 45-year-old longtime assistant coach John Harbaugh from the Philadelphia Eagles. And already, Rich, he has had to navigate his way through a couple of crises, including at quarterback. Gone his number one and number two quarterbacks because of injury and illness. Now he's down to a rookie quarterback, first start in the NFL, and Joe Flacco.
Well, Kevin, the Ravens are excited about Joe Flacco, and I am as well. I like the fact that he's really had to work at it. He started off at the University of Pittsburgh. He didn't get an opportunity there, and so he transfers to Delaware. And he wound up running the scout team his first year. But he hung in there, he battled, he wound up leading them to a title game, and he shattered most of the records at Delaware. He did really well at the Senior Bowl and at the Combine, and he really propelled himself to be the #1 pick. He's had a solid preseason.
And Flacco's not going to be the only running back in that back, or the only starter as a rookie in that backfield. The running back out of Rutgers, Ray Rice, will be back there too. We will see some Willis McGahee. Now as we switch to the defense, let's talk about Ray Lewis, and he just continues to propel this defense into one of the best units in the NFL.
Well, it always starts with Ray Lewis, and it should. He has been the solid foundation for that group for the last 12 seasons, and he is still one of the game's best. But I really believe that injuries took their toll on this defense a year ago, and the result was a lack of big plays. They need to find a way to get the takeaways, the sacks, and the interceptions up from a year ago. Health of this unit has to be a concern.
And the Ravens today will miss Kelly Gregg in the middle of the nose tackle, but Reed and McAllister, although not playing in the preseason, will both start this afternoon. Now for the Cincinnati Bengals and their sixth-year head coach Marvin Lewis, who is back. And going subsequent to him being there is their six-year quarterback Carson Palmer. Now, his two all-pro wide receivers have been absent in the preseason, but he gets them back today. How will that affect that lack of playing time in the preseason? How does that affect Palmer and that group this afternoon?
Well, it's got to always be a concern, but with a veteran like Carson Palmer, you know you're in pretty good hands. He has one of the best wide receiver tandems in the NFL. You see Chad Johnson. He had a phenomenal year last year. He told us he expects even more for himself. And then T.J. Hushman's out 112 receptions last year, tied for most in the NFL. One of the best wide receiver tandems in the NFL.
There is a developing story, too. It will not be Ocho Cinco. The league says it's got to be Chad Johnson. More on that story in just a moment. All right, let's talk now about the running back position. Chris Perry is the new guy back there. Rudy Johnson was let go.
They feel like he has more of an upside than Rudy Johnson, more versatility. I think he'll really help them in the passing game. It's Chris Perry's time.
And now today's Home Depot tools to victory in this game this afternoon.
Well, Cincinnati defense has long been a problem for the Bengals. That's why for the fourth straight year, they used their #1 draft pick on a defensive player, linebacker Keith Rivers out of USC. They need more production and consistency from this defense. And for the Ravens, well, they really like Ray Rice out of Rutgers. And I think he could carry it as many as 25 times today. He's not very big, but the one thing he can do is make defenders miss. Cincinnati, they have to eliminate distractions off the field. They have a new coordinator in Mike Zimmer. And for the Ravens, it's time for this offense to take off the training wheels. And finally, Baltimore's defense. They lost 31 games to injuries last year at some key positions. That's going to hurt them.
It's opening weekend in the NFL on CBS. It's a warm day in Baltimore for the season opener, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. Our broadcast today brought to you in high definition by Sony.
fight. 1, 2, 3.
Brian, you're not going to bother me there. If you want to sit down.
Presenting Subway Fresh Buzz, a look at football's most buzzworthy teams, brought to you by Subway. Subway, eat fresh. For many teams this year, hopes for success rest on their quarterback.
All right, D.A., you got 3 plays, son. You're in the red zone. I want to see what you can do with it.
The Browns are looking for big things from Derek Anderson. Donovan McNabb has the Eagles thinking Super Bowl, and the Jets should improve with their new quarterback, Brett Favre.
Favre drops back, looks right, fires left. Touchdown!
CBS Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Here's the latest on Chad Johnson. The NFL has recognized the legal name change of Chad Johnson to Chad Ochocinco. The league informed the Bengals today, though, that certain issues remain to be resolved before he will be permitted to wear his new surname on his jersey. He will wear Johnson on the back of the jersey, as you just saw. He will be referred to as Chad Johnson on the official play-by-play sheet. That takes care of that. The Bengals have won the toss, and they have deferred.
You know he's just driving the equipment guys crazy. Unbelievable.
Shane Graham will kick it off for Cincinnati. Amon Figures, who returned to kick off for a touchdown last season, will be deep back. There is very little wind inside the stadium here in downtown Baltimore today. Very counter to what we saw yesterday, and winds over 40 miles per hour here in the Inner Harbor. It's the season opener. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Baltimore Ravens, and here we go from downtown Baltimore. It's short, and Figures from the 14 for the Ravens, and hit and brought down by Hernandez Jones. An 11-yard return, which leads us to the quarterback of the Ravens, Joe Flacco. 18th overall selection. Gaither will be tested. He takes the place of the retired Jonathan Ogden. And rookie Ray Rice will see time today in the backfield, the second-round pick out of Rutgers. From the 24, it's first down and 10. And this is Rice. Hit by a host. Thornton gets his hand on him. Gain of 4. He's up to about the 27-yard line. And the Cincinnati defense. Rucker will play the end, but Antoine Odom, who's been injured since the first day of camp, will take his place on passing situation. Watch the kid out of USC. First-round pick, Keith Rivers, and a very young secondary. Second down and 6 from the 28-yard line. McClain, top of your screen, is the third receiver. The blitz is on by Genty. Flacco hits Heath. The ball is free. It was recovered at the 33-yard line. They say it's a fumble. They say Cincinnati has grabbed it. And a turnover on the first series and the second play of the season. A big hit, looks like gathers it in on the hit on Todd Heath.
And this is the problem. If you haven't played much in the preseason, these hits can be effective. Todd Heath missed a bunch of games last year. He only played in 6. Watch this thump. And that's game tackling, and that's what Mike Zimmer, the new defensive coordinator for the Bengals, is really hoping from this defense. Game tackling and more tempo and attitude.
Last season in the 2 games between these 2 teams, Baltimore turned it over 12 times in those 2 games in the series sweep for Cincinnati. On the 33, first and 10. Kelly in the backfield, lead block for Chris Perry. And he is stuffed at the line and hit there by Nada. There's a gain of about a yard. He's down to the 32. And you take a look at Carson Palmer. 2 consecutive 4,000-yard passing seasons. Anderson is gone as the right tackle, and Andrews, the franchise player, is at that position starting the season. And you see the names and the skill positions. 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers. Second down and 9 from the 32. Suggs gets blocked by Levi Jones. Palmer is down. Fumbled on the play. Bannon got him. Price picks it up. Was that a fumble? They say he was down. They say he was down at the 37-yard line. Pressure putting Palmer out of his comfort zone. A loss of 5 on the play. Bannon takes the place in the middle of the injured Kelly Gray. 13th season in the linebacking corps for Ray Lewis. And Ed Reed starts after not playing a lick in the preseason. It's 3rd and 15. They need the 23. Nickel secondary, so Ivy has come in as the nickelback. And a timeout taken by Cincinnati. Listen to how loud it is inside this stadium. So the Bengals burn their first timeout after getting a Baltimore fumble. 13 to play in the first. Cincinnati has just used their first timeout. Todd Heap fumbled on the second play of the game on a reception from Flacco. The fumble. Now it is 3rd and 15. Again, the nickelback is Corey Ivy.
And look at all this movement up front. They're never going to line up in just one spot. It makes it very difficult for Carson Palmer and the Bengals on 3rd down.
Jackson is the running back next to Palmer. He's hit.
He doesn't like to move.
Nope, and down he goes, hit by Jarrett Johnson. A terrific play by the defense. It's a loss of 4. Johnson knocks him down, and the ball is back to the 42. Now they got a punt.
And Ray Lewis told us we can't let Carson Palmer, the pure drop back passer, just sit in there and get comfortable because he will pick you apart. They talk about moving him off the spot, flushing him out of the pocket, making him throw the ball on the move. Not something he does very well.
Antoine Barnes came in and disrupted that play. Larson will punt. That sack knocks him out of field goal range.
That was a great stop for that defense. Offense put him in a really bad spot. Good hold.
Cincinnati can't get anything after being given outstanding field position. Figures is back, and it will be down. Blackstock, who is acquired in the offseason from Arizona, puts it down, 40-yard punt. Second look at the rookie Flacco. When we come back, the clock at 12:10. Cincinnati had great beginning field position at the 33 of Baltimore, had it 3 plays and out, and so now Baltimore gets it back from the 3, 1st and 10. Runs O'Neal is coming as the fullback, lining up now as the wingback. That's Mason on the move. On the plane, don't have the rookie in there, and he is out to about the 6-yard line, and he was brought down on the play by Gathers on a gain of 4.
Well, they talk about Joe Flacco, the #1 pick out of the University of Delaware. Good size, 6'6", strong arm, decent mobility for a quarterback of his size. The thing that they like about him, they think he's a mentally tough guy and doesn't feel like it's too big for him. They think he's got a real chance today, being really poised and taking control of this situation.
No defensive changes. 2nd down and 6. Top of your screen, the fullback McClain now playing running back, and Neal in the backfield. Mason outside, and he is drilled by the former 1st-round pick out of South Carolina, Jonathan Joseph. It is an incomplete pass. He dropped it on the big hit. Incomplete.
This is a good job getting some quarterback movement. Get Joe Flacco out on the edge and let him throw the ball. That'll help him in terms of the protection, particularly with that offensive line that's had numerous changes across the board.
Ray Rice comes back in the game for Baltimore.
Keep an eye right here. Keep an eye on Derek Mason in the slot. That's where this ball usually goes on 3rd down.
Johnson, the linebacker, is in. 3rd and 6. Rice hit by White, driven out of bounds. And he may have dug his way close to a 1st down, gain of 5. We'll have to see the measurement as he's out to about the 12-yard line. Rice, the dope Walker Award winner out of Rutgers.
And you just have to think that Cam Cameron, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, has a pretty conservative game plan for Joe Flacco. I'm sure they've scaled back some of the volume, and they're really going to focus in on concepts and plays, particularly in the passing game, that Joe Flacco is comfortable with.
To punt is Sam Cook, 3 years out of Nebraska. And deep back will be Antonio Chapman inside the 45 for the Cincinnati Bengals. What we did.
False start. Offense. Number 16. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
Well, it's not unusual to get a lot of penalties in the kicking game, particularly early in the season. A lot of these players have not played a ton of reps, a ton of snaps in the preseason. And then, of course, with the lineup changes, the roster reductions, players playing together for the first time in a lot of situations.
Long snapper is Petula.
Return of the ball here.
Chapman's going to let it bounce. Out of bounds. Good beginning field position for the second consecutive possession for the Cincinnati Bengals. It was a punt of 39 yards. The Bengals, when we come back, will have it at the 46, 10:34 in the first. Back in Baltimore, an investigator who reads between the lies. Simon Baker is the mentalist. Premieres Tuesday, September 23rd on CBS. Second consecutive Bengal beginning field position inside Baltimore territory. But look at this, and you thought, Rich, that you saw some protection issues in the preseason.
Well, it's a concern. He had the 3 sacks versus New Orleans, actually where he broke his nose. It's critical today to be clear and communicate because of all the unorthodox fronts and coverages that the Ravens will show him.
2 tight ends from the 46 after the Baltimore punt. 1st down and 10. This is Chris Perry, playing in his first NFL regular season game since November of 2006. Johnson with the tackle. It's a gain of 2 to the 43.
And we talked about Carson Palmer's broken nose in the preseason. He actually stayed in a couple plays. The problem was communication. Wasn't necessarily the offensive line. A new running back in Chris Perry, and of course Daniel Coates taking over for Jeremy Johnson. Protection in the backfield. They have to sort things out.
2nd down, long 7.
Carson Palmer,
the tight end, is in the slot.
Carson Palmer is as good as there is in the National Football League at getting in and out of plays at the line of scrimmage.
And setting his protection. Perry weaves his way. He's down to about the 40-yard line. A gang tackle down there, including Ray Lewis on a gain of 3. That protective shield, as you see a flag having been thrown. But we're going to take a look at that shield on Palmer's helmet.
Offside. Defense. Number 55. Lining up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
It's on Suggs. Is that a concern, or would you be concerned as a quarterback to wear something like that, having not used it in the past?
Well, we're all creatures of habit, and you know he talked to us a little bit about it the other day. He said he struggled early in the week with it, and I think that it's just a comfort level thing. He has never worn it before, but of course because of the broken nose, he feels like he has to have it.
Coates is in the backfield as the fullback. It's 2nd down and 3. Perry again out of the University of Michigan, slides inside. And he was hit by Ray Lewis, who has led this Baltimore defense in tackles for 10 consecutive years. It's a gain of 2. He's down to the 37. You know, I was thinking things like depth perception for a quarterback. You know, you got that shield. It would just seem to me to cause some issues.
And he was really worried about when we visited with him yesterday about the weather. He said, if it rains, I have no idea what I'll do. I might even have to take it off. So you know, it's something new to a quarterback. A visor, something he hasn't worn. It's different. Doesn't seem like it's bothering him so far today.
Utek has come in as a 2nd tight end. Johnson is out, 3rd down and 1.
Wow.
Palmer takes it. And he shoves the pile and gets 2 and picks up the 1st down, so they get the move right there. What were your thoughts in talking with Palmer yesterday? What was your perception about his feel for his game in this upcoming season?
Well, you know, it's always interesting when you talk to a Pro Bowl player like Carson Palmer and you ask him, how can you get better? And he said, you know what? My decision-making. I was a little impatient at times last year, particularly when we fell behind. It was a problem. He's got a strong arm. He trusts these receivers, but he said, I have to be sharp, and I have to make better decisions.
1st down and 10 from the 35. Coates in motion. Coates with the block.
Get him off the spot. Make
He
the
is
move.
now. He's being chased by Nada and chased by McAllister and run out of bounds after a scramble of 4 yards. Something as Rich was just kind of alluding to he's not comfortable with. He's down to the 31-yard line.
Well, Kevin, we talked about getting him off the spot. Watch right here. They're making him move. They don't want him to set his feet back in the pocket and get comfortable. He is a pure drop-back passer. He told us yesterday, I want to know where everybody is around me. I want to feel comfortable in the pocket. What did the Ravens tell us? We have to force Carson Palmer to move, to get out on the edge where he is not very comfortable.
2 tight ends, and Perry remains in the backfield, 2nd down and 6. Second possession for Cincinnati. There's a block by Williams. UTEP from the Colts, upended on the play by safety Tawan Landry. And it's a gain of 8 on the play. They'll mark the ball at the 23. UTEP presents a lot of interesting things now for this offense.
Yeah, and what happens is you don't have Chris Henry now, so this Ben UTEP gives you another option, and it helps him. It helps him in the running game as well. You get 2 tight ends, but Ben UTEP really has been brought in here to help them in the passing game. He's not the type of guy that's going to show up in the running game. He's not a big blocker.
2 tights, 1st and 10. By Williams. Chris Perry slashes his way inside the 15 to the 14. It's a gain of 9 on the play. Bannon brings him down, along with McAllister.
Well, I think Chris Perry realizes that after suffering through the numerous injuries that he has had over the years, that this could be his last opportunity in Cincinnati. He's had a great offseason. He's worked very hard. The Bengals are excited about him. I think he gives them a little bit more versatility from that tailback position.
7th play of the drive, 2nd down and 1. Perry again. Oh, and he ran right into Coates, who is a converted tight end. Brought down on the play by Bart Scott. Loss of 3. They'll shove him back to about the 17-yard line. Now, they lost their starting fullback, Jeremy Johnson, early this week in practice.
And Coates had no chance there. I mean, before he knew what hit him, Bart Scott was up in the backfield. Pressure upfield in the running game really stymies you. That's what happened there for the Ravens.
Nothing yet to Chad Johnson, who becomes one of 4 receivers. UTEP is out there. Chapman is out there. 3rd down and 4. Ivy becomes the nickelback for the Baltimore Ravens. Andrews a block. Intercepted by McAllister. It was intended for Hushmanzada. The 3-time Pro Bowler McAllister returns it 17 yards. It's up to the 22. Each team now has turned it over. Palmer throws a pick.
Say that play was set up by the great defensive play by Ed Reed. Being in the right spot at the right time, getting a hand on that ball, knocking it up in the air. Chris McAllister right there to make the pick.
McAllister, who missed half of last season with the knee, didn't play in the preseason, comes up with his 24th career interception. McAllister just picked off Carson Palmer on a deflected pass. It's down and 10, Flacco. Good block by Terry. That pass in front of Jonathan Joseph is caught by Derek Mason, the wily veteran, picks up 15 yards. He's up to the 37 with the 1st down.
Play action on 1st down, help the young quarterback. This is a throw that he really likes. He's tall, he's 6'6", and he's got a cannon for an arm. He can really throw that deep comeback on the sidelines to Derek Mason.
Fanene has come in for Rucker at that right defensive end on 1st and 10. This is LaRon McClain for a pickup of 3, pretty much tripped on his own as he nears the 40-yard line. This Flacco is interesting because he's a rookie. As you see the average starting drive of these 2 teams. Mike Zimmer is the new defensive coordinator of Cincinnati. I would assume he's going to show him a lot on the defensive end.
Well, if I'm the Bengals defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, I have to find out early in this game about Joe Flacco. How ready is he to play? Does he have answers for the pressures? He did a nice job on the 2nd play of the game, getting rid of the ball, Todd Heap on a blitz.
2nd down and 7. Here comes Gathers. That's out of the reach of LaRon McClain, who is covered by the rookie Rivers out of USC. Take a look at Flacco. So now we've got the specialty defense coming in on this 3rd down.
And you can see the movement outside the pocket. Now think of this. He was taking not many reps here in the preseason. He was splitting reps with 2 other quarterbacks. And I think part of the problem was, as he said, I only took about 30 throws in a game. He said, in college, I was getting 120 throws in practice. I need reps with these players, particularly the ones. I was throwing a lot of reps to the second and third guys.
37-yard line. I make it third down and 7. A nickel back is David Jones. Extra wide receiver is Demetrius Williams. That goes to Mason, who is drilled on the play by Dhani Jones. It's a first down catch. He's up to the 48. He picks up 8 on 3rd and 7. It's a first down for Baltimore and a pass completion for Flacco.
Well, this is great. Now look at this. They're starting in some no huddle. You have a rookie quarterback making his first career start. Cam Cameron is not holding anything back.
Goes down and 10. Ray Rice. Tackled on the play by Dhani Jones. It's a pickup of 4. They are into Cincinnati territory at the 48-yard line.
And you can just see his confidence gaining. You know, he feels good. They're giving him time. They're mixing in some runs, some play actions on the early downs. He looks comfortable out there, and that's not good if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. Calling plays at the line of scrimmage, getting them lined up. Not something you'd expect to see from a rookie quarterback.
Rice remains, second down and 6.
Here comes the pressure.
Blocked by Terry. Outside it goes. As it is caught by Mark Clayton. And he is down to the 43-yard line. And he picks up 5 yards on the play.
This is a good job. He sees the pressure early. Does a nice job sitting in there, kicking it out quick. Don't hold the ball when you see the pressures.
They're down in 1. Flacco himself. Goes to a first down, 42. This drive started back at the 22-yard line. One of the bigger plays, a 15-yard catch by Mason.
Well, the good news is he's cutting his teeth versus Cincinnati defense that's been beaten up over the years and is in the midst of a makeover. The other thing is he's practiced against one of the league's best defense, a secondary that's much better than what he'll face today. So I think he is really ready for this opportunity.
You know, Cam Cameron, as he told us a couple days ago, he's not going to go quarter by quarter and adjust things. He's going to go play by play. If he senses, a little bit of confidence from his quarterback, he may let him do more like we're seeing right now.
And he's going to open it up a little bit more. He'll give him more things if he sees that he's playing with confidence. His footwork is where it needs to be. He's making the right reads, the right throws, and right now he looks very comfortable in the pocket.
8th play of the drive. They get a first down to the 42.
You've got one-on-one on the outside. This is where you want to throw it on the early downs.
And around to Mason, double reverse, picked up by Clayton. There was a huge block. Flacco will throw a block. Rivers can't make the tackle. He's going to go inside the 5 and down for a touchdown. What a run and what a play.
Boy, you just gotta love Cam Cameron. Pulling tricks out of the bag early. And watch, get your speed receiver, Mark Clayton, out on the edge. Look at Joe Flacco getting the block. Now watch some of the linemen coming downfield. Nice move back inside by Mark Clayton.
Mark Clayton did not have a touchdown reception last season. He has just run one in for the 2nd rushing touchdown of his career. Clayton, the record-setting wide receiver out of Oklahoma, on #1 pick 4 years ago. Flacco to Mason, and Mason to Clayton, and the rookie Flacco with the block on Dhani Jones. 42-yard touchdown run.
You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Red zone interception by McAllister. Then 8 plays and 78 yards and a 42-yard touchdown run by Clayton on a double reverse.
Yeah, I hear you.
And I hear you too. And now it is 7-0 Baltimore, and the kickoff, Glenn Holt out of Kentucky. Nakamura knocked him down, knocked him off his horse near the 24-yard line. 24-yard return as we swing to JB in our CBS studios.
Hey, Kevin and Rich, Jets fans certainly have been hoping for this here. Brett Favre, 2nd offensive series. Up top, the gunslinger hooks up with Jericho Cotchery, 56 yards to pay dirt. Brett Favre, 1st touchdown toss as a Jet. 442, of course, with the Packers. 7-0 Jets on top of Miami. Kevin and Rich.
That's the first time since 04, JB, that Favre has thrown a touchdown pass on opening day. 1st and 10 from the 24 for Palmer, and his Bengals down 7-zip on a double reverse. Outside, Chris Perry. He got by Scott. Whacked out of bounds by Dewan Landry and Ray Lewis. It is a catch and gain of about 5, and he's up to the 28-yard line.
Well, the Ravens know exactly where Carson Palmer is going to line up, and you just know Rex Ryan is going to try and bring some blitzes and some stunts to move him around and flush him out of the pocket. It's bothering him. It's getting to him. And now you see the interception in the red zone. Uncertainty. It gets to you as a quarterback. It begins to wear you down. You have to be able to trust the protection.
Price is out. Marcus Douglas is in as the left defensive end. 2nd down and 5. And this is Chris Perry. Brought down by Lewis. It is a gain of 3. He's up to the 32. Back to our CBS studios and JB.
Kevin, Rich said uncertainty at quarterback. Well, that's the case right now in New England. Take a look at Tom Brady here. Left leg planted, hit by Bernard Pollard, bent awkwardly. Boy, the collective faithful in New England holding their breath as Brady is led off. Matt Castles is in. As we get the information, we'll pass it along. Back to Kevin and Rich.
Well, JB is making his 128th consecutive start today. Thanks for the update. Brady did not play 1 snap in the preseason. 3rd down and 2 for Carson Palmer. Nickelback is Ivy. Chapman is the 3rd receiver. Flag is down. Outside it goes. Incomplete, looking for the running back Perry, and covered on the play by Ray Lewis. Cincinnati penalty. What's your perception of the Bengal offense? I mean, we see high-powered players from Marvin Lewis. What do you think of it?
Well, you know what? They have to be able to run the ball more effectively. It's always been kind of the thorn in their side. You know what you have in Carson Palmer.
6 men on the line of scrimmage. 76 was not up on the line. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
There wasn't a penalty. Well, you know what you have with Carson Palmer and the receivers, but they have to be able to improve in the running game. Take some of the pressure off of that passing game.
2nd 3 and out in the last 3 possessions. Larson is back to punt. And Yaman figures back inside the 25-yard line for the Baltimore Ravens. Again, Breeze at the back of the Cincinnati punter here. Cincinnati has squandered 2. That's a low snap by Brad St. Louis. Nice kick by Larson. Figures a return to punt for a touchdown a year ago. Blackstock makes a hit and then belted out of bounds by Hebert. It is a punt of 52 and a return of 14 yards on the play. You think you've had bad luck? Wait till you see the first episode of Worst Week. Premieres Monday, September 22nd on CBS. Les Moonves, our president, says it's the funniest show to begin a season that he has ever seen. That's good for me. I'd watch it too.
Looks like a good one. We saw that promo at our orientation. That was really, really, really funny.
I want to get that award. 1st and 10 from the 29. Last possession, a 42-yard touchdown run. Here's Ray Rice on 1st and 10. Pecco brings him down. Gain of 4 to the 32-yard line.
Well, Ray Rice is going to get a lot of work today because of the situation with Willis McGahee. He missed a lot of the offseason program and missed the majority of training camp with that knee surgery. And what happens is if you don't get the reps, John Harbaugh, the head coach of the Raiders, they're just not going to put you out there. Bad things happen. You know, the ball comes out, so you got to be careful. That's why you're going to see more of Ray Rice and LaRon McClain carrying the ball today for the Ravens.
42-yard touchdown run by the receiver Clayton on a double reverse. Cincinnati, 2 punts in 3 possessions at the end of 1.
Here we go! Here we go!
7-0 Baltimore on a double reverse by the wide receiver Clayton, with Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan starting the 2nd quarter. Antoine Odom has just come in the game at the right defensive end. The big-time free agent signee by the Bengals. 2nd down and 6, and bodies are on the move. They lined up with 3 receivers, did the Ravens.
Number 71, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And that's Gaither, the left tackle, as we take a look at our two quarterbacks today.
Well, you wouldn't expect those numbers would unfold that way. Joe Flacco looked really comfortable there in the first half. Got off to some good throws on the first down. Carson Palmer, they got to him early. They flushed him. You see the ratings. Wow.
David Jones is coming as the nickel back, second down and 11.
And they like this matchup. They're going to put Clayton down the bottom here with their third corner, David Jones. That's the matchup they really want to go after.
McClain hit by Antoine Odom, who comes from the Tennessee Titans. It was a gain of 2, and the gain is up to about the 30-yard line. Defense has always been an issue for Cincinnati. I think we've always known about their offense, but the Bengal defense continues to find their identity.
Well, I like what they've done. They brought in Mike Zimmer. They've added Antoine Odom. They draft Keith Rivers. I mean, I think they're really heading in the right direction. Mike Zimmer's a guy that was in Dallas, was in Atlanta. He's a guy that believes in discipline, he believes in structure, and he believes in intensity. And I think you'll start to begin to see that with this defense once they become more and more comfortable with his system.
Demetrius Williams is the third receiver, third down and 9. Terry with the good block. Pecco has got his hands on Flacco. That's incomplete to Clayton. They had Jones over in the vicinity, and so you see the numbers on Flacco there at the top of your screen. Baltimore's got a punt.
And here's where the inexperience kills you. Nice job stepping up in the pocket. Now getting comfortable with your second and third receivers and just being accurate on the move. You can't get enough reps at that. You can't get enough work doing that moving. You can see the reaction from Mike Zimmer.
Antonio Chapman is back inside the 25-yard line. He has had one punt return, a touchdown in his career. Brought down by DeJuan Landry, who got him around the ankles and would not let go. 43-yard punt. We're in the second quarter and 14:02 to play. Cincinnati has squandered some pretty good beginning field position.
Well, they weren't able to take advantage of it, and that's the thing that really hurts you. Now, 3 and outs are bad, but in the red zone, they just kill you.
Marcus Douglas continues to take the place of Price on the defense for the Ravens. First and 10 from the 26. Palmer. Good block by Kelly. Incomplete for UTEP. Coverage on the play by linebacker Ray Lewis. Second down and 10. Fans, check out the new and improved NFL.com Game Center with Red Zone audio and Big Play Ticker. It's all exclusive at NFL.com. 42-yard double reverse touchdown run by Clayton. On second down and 10. UTEP is in the slot. And Chris Perry. Dislocated ankle kept him out of action last year. A tackle made by McAllister. Over heels for about 8 yards, and they'll spot the ball at the 34-yard line.
Well, we just 16 plays. The Bengals have had nothing in the direction of Chad Johnson. And our statistician, Pat McGrath, telling me that Carson Palmer might be looking for Ocho Cinco. Can't find Ocho Cinco.
6 defensive backs, including the rookie Zbikowski out of Notre Dame. Price has come in on the defensive line. It's third down and 2.
Well, they got to get this one off. Look at the play clock.
Timeout. Cushmanzada saw it and called a timeout, as did Palmer. Now, since he's got one timeout remaining in the half, 13:09 to play.
Just take a look at this. Look at the uncertainty. It's so important for this offensive line to get up and get set. And the reason why, so Carson Palmer can set the defense, make the declarations in terms of the protection. They're moving around way too much, and that's causing problems for Carson Palmer. The play clock went all the way down to 0.
And we've seen no huddle 0 times from this offense today so far.
Well, there are some concerns. It's always a concern on the road. But the other concern, keep in mind, Hugh Jackson, who worked with the Bengals receivers a couple years ago, is now the quarterback coach here in Baltimore. So there's some concern as to how much no huddle they would use early in this game.
They've gone from 6 defensive backs down to 5. Third down and 2. Chapman, the third receiver. Perry in the backfield. Perry. Oh boy, shooting through Bart Scott. a Pro Bowler a couple years ago in a loss of 2, and since he's got a punt, ball is back at the 32-yard line.
Tell you what, Bart Scott has made 2 big plays in the running game. Penetration, just watch him firing up through the gap, getting back up underneath the block. Now just watch this. I mean, that's the quickness of Bart Scott. He had a very disappointing year a year ago.
Cincinnati 1 of 5 on 3rd downs today. Larson the punt. Yaman Figures out of Kansas State on the 25. Gang tackle. They had Dhani Jones down there. It's a 4-yard return, a 43-yard punt. Our second quarter clock at 12:25. Coming up from New York, the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Shannon Boomer, and Coach Cowher. Then a behind-the-scenes look at the grand opening of the CBS Scene, a one-of-a-kind entertainment and dining destination located next to the Patriots Stadium. And a U.S. Open update. All next on the Sprint halftime report. Rucker is back in at that defensive end. They've had Fanene, they've had Odom, and now they've got Rucker back in there who started the game. Second consecutive start of the 29, 1st and 10. Flacco. Clayton couldn't get it. Nice defensive play by Jonathan Joseph. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. What kind of long ball does Flacco throw?
Well, he's got plenty of arm. Unfortunately here, he underthrows it. You just watch, Clayton's going to work up the slot, and he's got Jonathan Joseph beat, and he's got plenty left. Joe Flacco needs to just throw that one out down the middle of the field and let Mark Clayton go up and get it.
One thing about these Baltimore receivers, they're not very tall, are they?
No, they're not very big. But I tell you what, they compete and they go after the ball. They're undersized. In fact, they're the 2nd smallest group of receivers in the NFL. But they compete and they go after the ball.
It's 2nd down and 10.
Timeout, Baltimore. This is their first charge timeout.
12:20 to play. John Harbaugh, his NFL head coaching debut. Touchdown run of 42 yards has him on the board.
Try and work the open spots, but they need more production from the 2nd and 3rd receiver. Mark Clayton and Demetrius Williams, 0 touchdowns a year ago.
Look at that graphic up in a second. 2nd down and 10. Looks like Flacco might be changing the play. Have you noticed him audibleizing a lot?
He's got a couple checks. It's impressive to see.
Ray Rice, good block by Heap. Tackle made by Frosty Rucker. He's had some injuries over his short career. A gain of 5 on the play to the 33.
And most of his checks, Kevin, I believe, are in the running game. They're going to check the strong side runs. They're going to check to the reduction of the defensive front. So they're not going to complicate things for him, but they want to give him a couple checks so that they can get into the best possible play based on the front in coverage.
Rucker now has moved inside. Antoine Odom has come back at the right defensive end. 3rd down and 5. Nickelback is Jones at the bottom of your screen.
This is usually the hardest thing for a young quarterback. 3rd down, the protections.
Demetrius Williams is coming as the 3rd receiver. That's caught by Rice and dropped. He was being chased by the veteran Dhani Jones. That's a 1st down and then some if he can reel it in.
Wow, that one could have gone to the house. And this is a great job by Joe Flacco. He knows the pressure's coming. He drifts. He holds it as long as he can. He actually has to throw it before Ray Rice is even out of his break. And he gives him a good throw. That's a tough catch by Ray Rice. But boy, if he could have hauled that one in, Kevin, there was a lot of grass.
That's the 2nd drop by a Baltimore receiver today. Punt will come from Sam Cook, and deep back is Antonio Chapman, the University of Cincinnati. Former Green Bay Packers. Punt return. There goes a flag he got by Landry. And he was brought down by Corey Ivy. Return of 21 yards on a punt of 47, but a flag has been thrown. Bengals a season ago 7-9. Baltimore a season ago 5-11.
During the return, illegal block, number 20, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Well, there was a coaching change, of course. Brian Billick, who won that Super Bowl early part of this decade, was let go. Even when they had Steve McNair a couple years ago, they thought that was their season when they went 13-3. Then the disappointment the very next year, 5-11. That brought in John Harbaugh, who played at Miami of Ohio. And that was a long-time University of Cincinnati coach and spent the last 10 years as a special teams coach and a defensive backs coach with the Philadelphia Eagles. From the 12, 1st and 10. Marcus Douglas is still on that defensive line. Hand off to Perry. Douglas makes the stop. They had to trade for him in the preseason because of an injury to Dewan Edwards. It's a gain of a yard, and it's up to the 13-yard line.
I'll tell you what, this is a big drive for the Cincinnati Bengals. They look out of sorts offensively. Carson Palmer does not look comfortable. They have not been good on 3rd down. And I think that they have to find a way to throw the ball a little bit more on the early downs, particularly in the outside lanes to Chad Johnson and T.J. Hushmanzada. They have to test this Ravens secondary.
This is the 5th possession. 3 punts and an interception by McAllister. 2nd down and 9. Perry again. Ray Lewis. Jarrett Johnson make the stop after a gain of a yard. Take a look at Carson Palmer, who wanted to get some no huddle today. Is he demanding enough with everything around him? Does he have that quality that you look for in quarterbacks?
Well, I like to see him put his foot down more and demand the same attention to detail and discipline from those around him. You see right there, Carson Palmer, one of the reasons they haven't worked the outside lanes, the Ravens have been given a ton of double coverage to T.J. Hushmanzada and Chad Johnson. They're not going to let those guys go one-on-one with the corners.
Leonard is the 6th defensive back. Ivy is the 5th, so 6 in the secondary, 3rd down and 8. Palmer is hit as he throws, incomplete, looking for Chapman, who is covered by McAllister, and the blitz came on from Zibikowski. Chapman couldn't catch up with it. Zibikowski was the one coming through.
And he's lined up on the outside. Chad Johnson never sees. This is risk reward. They know the pressure was coming. Carson sits in there and tries to hit the post down the middle of the field.
This is the 4th punt in 5 possessions. Figures back inside the 40. Thompson again. Ramon Figures. Chased by Jones. Got a block from Grayson, and there he goes. There's a block on the plate from Walker, and that's going to be a flag, and it could be called back as Figures takes it into the end zone, a 71-yard return. I think Frank Walker, number 41, was called for a block in the back, and David Jones for Cincinnati, special teams, and the nickel performer is down at the 35.
Illegal block in the back, number 41. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that wipes away the Figures return of 71 yards. That is David Jones, and he is down. A player who was let go by New Orleans last year in the final cut, reeled in by Cincinnati. He played a handful of games, and he beat out Deltha O'Neal in the preseason. O'Neal was later cut. What a return by Figures, and watch number 41. Wow. I don't know. What do you think?
Wasn't much there. He got him on the shoulder pads. Yeah, they got that right hand on the back.
Yep.
And that's the problem. Half the time in the kicking game, sometimes it's not even necessary. If you just box him out, if you get your body in the way, make it very difficult for the defender to change directions.
We have an injury timeout. The penalty on Walker wipes out the 71-yard punt return touchdown by Figures. 9:27 in the second. Jones walks off under his own power. 46-yard line, 1st down and 10. Flacco right to work. Ray Rice, Yonda with the block. The tackle is made by Rivers, the rookie out of USC. There's a gain in 4, and he's down to the 41-yard line. Flacco looks very calm and composed.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. When you're playing special, keep an eye right there. Nick Greason, he never sees the hit. David Jones not even anticipating. When you're playing special teams, particularly in the return game, you have to keep your head on a swivel.
Fanene back at that right defensive end. 2nd down and 6. 42. Boy, Gathers was really jumping.
Offside, defense, number 91, unabated to the quarterback, second down.
Boy, you just wouldn't expect to see these mistakes from a veteran like Robert Gathers. Usually the false starts happen with a young quarterback making his first start. And that's the impressive thing with Joe Flacco today for the Ravens. Communication has been clear. He has not held the ball. He's recognized the pressures. The ball has come out very quickly. He's done a nice job managing the game.
Two tight ends, McClain in the backfield. First and 10, LaJuan McClain. Taking it up, brought down by Gathers. It is a gain of 8, and he slithers his way to the 29-yard line. And he's got a first down.
Well, there's been a lot of concern about this offensive line, players changing positions, and Jared Gaither replacing Jonathan Ogden. So far, this line today has done a very nice job. You see all the different changes from 07 to 08. They've done a nice job settling in and playing good, solid football.
First and 10. Rice back in. Neal with the block. Hecko hits Flacco. Flacco, by the way, is 5 of 11 tossing today in his NFL debut.
And this is a good play by Joe Flacco. It's because it's the only play. He didn't have time. He does a nice job throwing it away. Now you give yourself a chance in the red zone here, 2nd and 10. Cam Cameron loves that type of play. A smart play by a young quarterback. Not taking the sack in the red zone.
Fanene remains at that right defensive end for the Bengals. 2nd down and 10. Two tights.
Pressure again.
Neal with another block. Flacco looking for Heap, who fumbled earlier in the game. The coverage by Leon Hall. And they like Hall a great deal. He's out of Michigan, #1 pick a couple years ago. It'll be 3rd down.
I got to tell you, Todd Heap doesn't quite look 100%. We talked earlier about the fact that he played just 6 games in 2007 with the hamstring injury. He didn't play very much in the preseason. He, right now, to me, looks a little out of sync. He hasn't quite found his rhythm.
Antoine Odom is coming on the defensive line. Castile has taken the place of Jones at the nickelback for the Bengals. Demetrius Williams is an extra receiver. It is 3rd down and 10.
Empty backfield. No protection for Joe Flacco.
Looking for the angular Williams, covered by Leon Hall. And so they'll try for 3. The Bengals do their job.
And this is a poor angle by Demetrius Williams. You just watch. He's got to set the angle high to the corner. Look how flat he is. Going to the boundary, not giving Joe Flacco enough room to fit that ball in there.
So here is 19-year veteran Matt Stover. #3 all-time in accuracy, a 47-yard field goal. Earlier in practice today, he was knocking these in with ease. The wind at his back. Wide left. So Baltimore can't get anything out of that drive. It'll go back to Carson Palmer and the Cincinnati offense. Comedy that hits home. Gary Unmarried is coming to CBS Wednesday, September 24th. The Cincinnati offense has just not looked like it's insane. Now, do you attribute any of that to the fact these receivers have not really been around a lot this preseason?
Well, that hurts. Obviously, the timing and the rhythm of the passing game is not where it needs to be. But the difference right now has been the pressure on Carson Palmer applied by this Ravens defense. They just 2 of 6 for 13 yards. And the amazing thing, 33 total yards of offense for the Bengals.
Price is on the defensive line for Baltimore, 1st and 10. Palmer gets a Levi Jones block. Incomplete. Looking for Kelly. Covered on the play by Bart Scott. 2nd down and 10. Palmer's numbers there at the top of your screen, and look at the wide receivers.
And I have to tell you, I'm a little surprised, but not totally surprised, because Chad Johnson told us yesterday that they're not going to see a lot of single coverage. He felt like the Ravens did not like the matchup. They're going to get double coverage most of the day, so they're going to have to find a way to beat double coverage and give their quarterback a chance.
Lamar Divins is coming on that defensive line for Baltimore, and the 2nd down and 10 from the 37. Utek was in the slot. Briscoe brought down by Terrell Suggs, a former Defensive Rookie of the Year. Loss of 4, pushing back to the 33-yard line.
And this is what makes Rex Ryan so great. They give you so many unusual looks. And you go back to that last play. Who was this right here? That's Terrell Suggs, a linebacker lined up in space on T.J. Hushmanzada. And what they're going to do is they're going to help their corners get jams and pressures on these receivers to disrupt the timing and the rhythm in the passing game.
6 defensive backs. Make it 7. Zibikowski comes in as a 7th defensive back. 3rd and 13. They need the 47. Watson in the backfield. Watson has the ball. They blow it dead. Flag down at the 41.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Baltimore's defense, Rich, at least what you and I have watched on tape, they don't seem to tip off what they're going to do, blitzes and whatnot.
Well, there's so much volume to it, and they give you a different array of looks each and every week. Rex Ryan will have something especially for Carson Palmer in this defense. The thing you know about Rex Ryan, he can't help himself. When push comes to shove, he is going to heat you up with lots of blitzes.
Now they've gone to 5 defensive backs. Scott has been brought in. 5 in the secondary. 3rd and 18. Watson at the side of Palmer. That's T.J. Hushmanzada. Chapman with the block, and Scott, the linebacker, over to get the Pro Bowl receiver. It's a gain of 7. Hushmanzada's first catch today. The ball will be put down at about the 37-yard line. 4th consecutive 3 and out by the Cincinnati offense today.
You want to keep an eye on Chad Johnson. He's a guy that wants catches early. He wants to get into the rhythm of the game, and what happens is these guys' demeanor goes right down the toilet.
Larson, that's good, well put. Larson with the punt, and here's Figures on the 21, returned it 71 yards last time, and this time he is brought down at about the 25-yard line. Coming through with the play was Kenny Watson. So Rice and McClain now will come in on this offensive beginning for the Baltimore Ravens at the 25-yard line. Only score in the game, a 42-yard double reverse touchdown run by Clayton. Otherwise, last 3 possessions since that touchdown for Baltimore, punt, and a missed 47-yard field goal. First and 10. Rice, getting through. Beautiful play by Fanene. Loss of 2 on the play, and they'll push him back to about the 22-yard line. So we've, as we said before, we've seen Odom, we've seen Rucker, and Jonathan Fanene.
Not a very good job with the point there by Adam Turry, the right tackle for the Ravens. Fanene getting up underneath his pads, getting some push. Penetration in the running game, particularly on stretch plays, really hurts you.
Here comes the 5th defensive back, Castillo. Here comes Odom to play the right defensive end. Demetrius Williams has come in as the 3rd receiver, 2nd down and 12. Ray Rice remains. Rice hit by Rivers, rookie tackling rookie at the 31-yard line. A catch of 8, bringing up 3rd down and 4 at the 31.
Well, Joe Flacco realizing the check down is a quarterback's best friend, and finding Ray Rice over the ball to make your reads, go through your progressions, but always know where that check down is.
Still 5 defensive backs. 3rd down and 4. Luther does a good job on Odom. Nice knockdown by Jonathan Joseph on a pass intended for Derek Mason. Joseph with his 2nd nice defensive play today. Flacco can't do anything with that. A quick 3 and out. Gaither, I watched him, especially at that left tackle, knocking out Odom on that pass rush.
Yeah, that's an area they're going to attack. And Mike Zimmer really likes these 2 corners, Jonathan Joseph and Leon Hall. They used 1st-round picks on him over the years, and they feel like they weren't sure about him a year ago whether they were zone guys or man. These guys can play man-to-man.
From the walk-on in Nebraska, Sam Cook with the punt. Gets off a beauty. Antonio Chapman. Oh, what a play by Yamon Figures. One return specialist tackling the other. 56-yard rocket. And Figures made it go with 4:08 to play in the 2nd quarter. What a punt. Sprint halftime being put together for you in New York right now. Scores, highlights, and a look at Favre and the Jets down in Miami. A behind-the-scenes look at the grand opening of the CBS scene in Foxborough. And the U.S. Open update that's coming up next from our studios in New York. Only scoring play, a 42-yard touchdown run by Clayton, the receiver, on a double reverse for the Baltimore Ravens. What a horrible offensive day it's been for the Bengals. 4 consecutive 3-and-outs. They begin at the 12, 1st and 10. Utek was in the slot. Chris Perry. A block by Hirsch-Benzada. And out of bounds he goes, hit by Samari Roll on a gain of 3. He's out near the 15-yard line.
Well, you have to imagine that the Bengals offensive coordinator, Bob Bretkowski, is frustrated right now. You think you want to open things up a little bit and attack them through the air. But what happened is, I think they've become a little gun-shy because of the fact the Ravens have gotten home with some pressures and have gotten some hits on quarterback Carson Palmer.
Douglas remains on that defensive line. Price will come in passing situations for Baltimore. 2nd down and 7. Palmer. Kelly, the tight end. He was watched by his safety and finally touched by Dewan Landry. Gain of 15 yards on the play, and it is a first down. You don't normally think of Reggie Kelly as a pass-receiving tight end.
Well, no, he's in there for one reason, and that's the block, but does a nice job getting out. Carson Palmer, again, forced to move in the pocket. Does a nice job finding an open Reggie Kelly down the middle of the field.
Utek in the slot. 4 defensive backs, 1st and 10 from the 30. Perry again. Fumble on the play and recovered by McAllister. It was a hit by Ray Lewis and Scott. There's a block by Reed. A flag has been thrown. And the 2nd turnover of the day as it stands right now on the Cincinnati offense. And McAllister has been a part of both turnovers.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 92, 10-yard penalty. 1st down, Baltimore.
Well, I didn't see it, but that was a great strip. You just watch Chris Perry. He's that ball high and tight. Boy, that's Ray Lewis.
Yes.
That is Ray Lewis. Boy, he has done that a bunch of times in his career. Now watch him turn upfield, try and get some blocks. And Chris McAllister's not the kind of guy you want to see with the ball in the open field. He can really hurt you. Just watch his left arm. Watch him yank it out before Chris Perry's knee hits the ground.
He'll be at the Cincinnati 39.
They're going to review that, or?
Fanene begins at the right defensive end. 2:37 to play in the half. Baltimore with a couple of timeouts. What a horrible offensive day for the Bengals. They've turned it over twice. They have punted 5 of 7 times today. 1st and 10. Rice. Well, Jonathan Joseph tripped him up, and then he was brought down on the side by Pecco on a gain of 4 to the 35-yard line. Flag is thrown at the 39. Flacco, it looks like they've not asked him to do too much today as that quarterback position for Baltimore. Almost managed the game more than
Personal
performed.
foul, grabbing the face mask, 96 in defense. 15 yards from the end of the run.
Or the mental errors, the
John's
lack
point.
of discipline and structure that you need. Kevin, it shows up too often with this Bengals football team. You have to have poise, particularly on the road, particularly when things aren't going well for you.
But do you sense that with Flacco?
I'll tell you what, I think he's done a nice job. He's managing the game all right, but they've opened some things up. They've let him do more because he's playing with such poise right now, and he's making good decisions.
And he entered the right defensive end, 1st and 10. Keep in motion.
He's in the round, no?
Rice. He got by Rivers, and he cuts his way to the 10. He brought down by Jackson. It's a gain of 10. The rookies are playing a role in Baltimore's lead. We've reached the 2-minute warning. some pretty interested spectators.
Yeah, some worry and concern on the faces of an anxious mom and dad. Joe Flacco's parents here watching today. And Steve Flacco actually was a pretty good athlete himself at the University of Pennsylvania, played baseball and football for the Quakers.
Rucker is coming at that defensive end, 1st and goal. Flacco to Rice. Good block by Terry. Run out of bounds by Dhani Jones after a gain of 3. Knocked the ball at the 7-yard line. Jones from New York and Philadelphia, New Orleans.
But I like Ray Rice. Just 5'8", 205 pounds, but I like his toughness and his durability. Broke most of the rushing records at Rutgers. I would imagine he'd get the ball at least 25 times today.
2nd goal to 7. Passes in with McClain, who gives a block. Rice. Hall and Genty force him out of bounds, as does Rivers on a gain of 3. Mark the ball at about the 3-yard line. When you're in this deep, does it limit what you can do offensively? I mean, what was your thought as a quarterback on what you could do at the 10?
Well, good red zone teams are able to run the football in this part of the field. And that's something the Baltimore Ravens have always done. You got a workhorse there like Ray Rice, who should take some of the burden off of Willis McGahee this season for the Ravens.
Rice is out, McClain is in, 3rd goal at the 3.
Oh, there you got him.
He drops the ball. He fumbled earlier in the game, and the all-time leading Ravens receiver drops the ball right there.
This is pretty good coverage. You're going to watch Todd Heap working to the corner, and that's got to be a perfect throw for Dhani Jones to fit in.
So Cincinnati does their job. They hold Flacco and the Baltimore offense out of the end zone, and so they'll try for 3. Stover's already missed today. This will be a 21-yard try. They began this drive on the Cincinnati 39. 10-0 Baltimore with 1:43 to play. I'll go back to what we were talking about before, Rich, about managing a game and not putting too much pressure on this. They've really compartmentalized, it seems, everything he has done today.
Yeah, and you know, he's been solid. And the thing that I like right here, he's not turned the ball over. And that's the thing that you want to make sure that your young quarterback understands. And then on the other side, Carson Palmer, he's struggling right now to find his rhythm offensively.
Well, Cincinnati's offense, Chad Johnson and T.J. Hushmanzada silent. They failed early on a short field. Only 60 yards of total Cincinnati offense so far. Hushmanzada has caught a short pass, but that's been it. Pushka with the kickoff. And hold at the 7-yard line for the Cincinnati Bengals. Zibikowski brings him down, the rookie out of Notre Dame. And the gain is out to the 32, a 25-yard return. Carson Palmer and that Bengal offense have a timeout remaining. Take us inside the final 1:37 of the half.
Well, Carson Palmer has been through this routine 1,000 times. He's as good as there is in the 2-minute drill. Chad Johnson, T.J. Hushmanzada, they have to find a way to get these guys the ball in the field. And I think what they can do is use some motion, get these guys inside in the slots, get them away a little bit from Chris McAllister and Samari Rolle, who are really winning the battles on those outside edges.
Watson in the backfield.
Here you see right here. There's TJ in the slot. Let him work the middle of the field against Corey Ivy.
Antoine Barnes, one of the linebackers for Baltimore. 1st down and 10 for Palmer. Off his back foot, incomplete, deflected. There's a flag. It was going for Antonio Chapman. And it might have been on McAllister.
Going to get him for pushing.
Defensive pass interference, number 21. Ball will be spotted at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Boy, that's the one you like to have back. Look, he's right there in coverage. He's just trying to make a play on the ball. He's trying to beat him inside on the glance route. Chris McAllister can't understand why.
6 penalties on Baltimore. 42-yard line, 1st and 10. Extra defensive back is out there, and that is Zibikowski for Baltimore. Watson in the backfield. Chapman, the extra receiver. Kenny Watson. tripped up by Suggs. Ahead he goes to the 48 and picks up 6 yards.
Well, just the one time out left. Carson Palmer has to pick up the tempo here. They have to pick up the pace. Again, that offensive line has to get set so Carson Palmer can make the declarations and get the protections dialed in.
7 defensive backs, 2nd down and 4. Palmer slings a pass. There's a flag, and that's on McAllister. As Chad Johnson slipped, and McAllister a little bit too physical with Johnson.
And this is the problem, Kevin.
Defensive pass interference, number 21. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
2 penalties on this drive on McAllister.
And that's what happened when you don't take one single snap in the preseason, Chris McAllister. The timing, the tempo, the speed of the game is so much different than it is in practice. Chris McAllister struggling a little bit to find his legs and his rhythm covering these receivers.
Now they've gone to 6 defensive backs as Baltimore. 1st and 10. Chapman, the 3rd receiver. Oh, they come right at Palmer, who is drilled on the play. They brought in Zibikowski. The 2nd time that the rookie from Notre Dame has come jetting off the end.
And they're bringing perimeter pressures, and they're not doing a good job handling it. Carson Palmer has no chance. They're 1 short in their protection scheme.
So they've got all those defensive backs. It was Zibikowski and Corey Ivey pressuring the quarterback now. 2nd down and 10.
And we always talk
to Chad only 1 time so far.
And Kevin, we talk about great quarterbacks. If you get to them early, you knock them around, they become average. Average quarterbacks, you knock them around, they become poor.
2nd and 10 from the 43. Good time. Caught by T.J. Hushmanzada. 2nd reception today to the 30-yard line. Melted on the play by Dewan Landry. Pickup of 13. That is a 1st down.
We got plenty of time. Clock it here.
So the drive by Cincinnati for Coach Marvin Lewis has been helped by 2 penalties on McAllister. That 13-yard reception by Hushmanzada. Ball is at the 30-yard line.
You see there, the protection was better. It was a zone coverage. They dropped a bunch, just rushed 4 defenders. Carson Palmer much more comfortable. When you give him time, he's going to usually find the open receiver.
Five defensive backs, 2nd down and 10. Jones a block, but they come from the other side. He got it away, and it was caught right in front of Ray Lewis at the 27-yard line by Perry on a pickup of 3.
Well, it's a nice job by Carson Palmer avoiding the sack and kicking it out quickly.
So a timeout has been taken. Get the fully customizable keeper league you've always wanted with Fantasy Football Commissioner, CBSSports.com/fantasy. So the timeout was by Cincinnati, and they burned their final timeout right there, resting at the 27-yard line of the Baltimore Ravens. You were talking earlier this week about a lot of these guys not taking a lot of snaps, the conditioning issues and the heat in game 1 and really throughout the month of September.
Then you have to imagine that the IVs will be flowing in both of these locker rooms after today's game. A lot of these veterans, guys like Chris McAllister, Shamari Rowe, T.J. Hushmanzada didn't play at all in the preseason because of a sore hamstring. Chad Johnson just the 1 game. So these guys are struggling right now with their conditioning.
6 defensive backs, 3rd down and 7. Outside Ben Utek, held by McAllister. Upended at about the 25-yard line and a gain of 2 yards on the play.
Well, no timeouts left.
Nope. They have to race out and try to get 3.
Yep. And just watch Chris McAllister. He's in 2 deep coverage. He knows he's responsible for that flat. And these corners, both of McAllister and Samari Rolle, can really tackle in the open field.
23-yard try by Shane Graham and a timeout taken by Baltimore. Graham is the 2nd most accurate field goal kicker of all time. If you go back to last season with Graham against Baltimore, he kicked 7 field goals in a game in mid-November.
Clutch.
Against this Baltimore team. Terrific numbers from a season ago.
Well, John Harbaugh has to be happy with this first half. Offensively, Joe Flacco has gone out there. He's looked very poised. The rookie, Ray Rice, the running back, has done a nice job. He's gotten a bunch of touches, and his defense has really controlled and dictated the tempo and pace of this game.
Well, this drive by Cincinnati was aided on 2 McAllister penalties and a 13-yard reception by Hushmanzada. 10 in a row coming from last year does Graham have now, and hit field goals. 43-yard try right here. Wind in his face. And he gets it. And Cincinnati is on the board with 5 seconds to play before halftime. So they get something out of it. McAllister was kind of the center of that for Baltimore's defense, and 11 straight now for Graham. But the Cincinnati offense, I mean, there's got to be great concern about what they were not able to accomplish in that first half.
Well, you know when you play Cincinnati that at least 2 or 3 times a quarter that they will take a shot down the field. I mean, that's their mindset and that's the philosophy that they have. But they weren't able to do that in the first half. And I think that's the thing that hurt them. They came out with a little bit of more of a conservative game plan, trying to feel their way with this Baltimore defense, trying to get Chris Perry on track, running the ball a little bit, but Carson Palmer never got in rhythm. And the reason why they moved him so much out of the pocket, we talk about on that spot, Baltimore forced Carson Palmer to the perimeter.
And not a bunch of no huddle, which they love to use against any defense.
And maybe we'll see more of it in the second half. The no huddle has been a big part of what Cincinnati does. It controls the tempo. It limits the substitutions from Baltimore. It really limits what Rex Ryan can do in terms of dialing up so many blitzes. And the best part about it, it allows Carson Palmer to preview the defense and get him into the best possible play.
And they get this on the ground and on the bounce. It'll be Jim Leonard, who was picked up as a free agent from Buffalo. Brought down by Marvin White, the starting safety. And that takes us to halftime. A 42-yard touchdown run by the wide receiver Clayton on a double reverse. And Stover knocked one in from 21 yards away in Joe Flacco's NFL debut. And John Harbaugh, the head coach, his debut. 10-3 at halftime, the Ravens. Receiver Clayton with a 42-yard touchdown run. Baltimore's on top. And a reminder, this game today is brought to you in high definition here on CBS. Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan, your thoughts on the rookie quarterback Flacco?
Well, it's not so much what he's done. He was only 6 of 16 in the first half. It's what he hasn't done. He hasn't held on to the football. He hasn't made many poor decisions. He's not turning it over. He's playing with a lot of poise right now. And he's just letting the offense work for him. He's got good receivers on the outside. Clayton, he's getting him the ball in space and then letting him go to work afterwards. And you see, though, like anything else, the reps, just not having a lot of time in the system, missing some open throws. But overall, a pretty clean performance by Joe Flacco.
And through 30 minutes of football, here are some of the numbers.
Well, you know, Cincinnati's defense is not playing all that bad. They've been put in some really bad situations. You see the points off of turnovers here, and that was a problem in the first half. Cincinnati's defense really went out, tried to hold them, but offensively, that's where the problem lies. Carson Palmer and this offensive unit, they have to find a way to get something going here early in the second half.
Holt is deep back. Pushka's kickoff with the wind at his back. From about the goal line, Holt. With a lead block from Watson.
Whoa.
And the kicker, Holt, knocked him off stride. A return of 44 yards. A good way for Palmer and this offense to start. And he's had trouble getting hooked up with some of those great receivers of his.
Well, you hope they've made some halftime adjustments. They've talked about the issues they've had in terms of the protections. Hopefully now they'll be able to come out, and the important thing, a couple completions early to these receivers that helps them get going and also helps Carson Palmer find his rhythm.
On the 44, 1st and 10. Perry in the backfield. Utek is in the slot, and 4 in the secondary. Jarrett Johnson came from the side, brings down Chris Perry at about the 47-yard line after a gain of 3.
And you worry about Chris Perry. You know, he's limited 7 games in 3 of his 4 years with the team and hasn't played a lot. but they're trying to get him going a little bit. They're trying to get him some carries. Where he really can hurt you is out of the backfield. He's a great screen runner and has really been a good outlet last couple years for Carson Palmer in the passing game.
2nd down and 7. Trevor Price begins this series on the defensive line for Baltimore. Perry again. What a great penetrating move on the play by Terrell Suggs. They couldn't reach an agreement contractually with him in the offseason. They'll have to do it after the year is complete. No gain on the play for Perry. The gain is negligible. Maybe a couple inches now where they spot it. Let's leave him at the 47-yard line. So now it is 3rd down and 7.
I just don't understand the thought process right now for the Bengals. I mean, they're trying to run the ball against one of the best run defenses in the league. As bad as things were a year ago for the Ravens defensively, they still finished number 2 in the National Football League. They only give up 79 yards a game on the ground, and the Bengals are still trying to pound it down the middle.
Ivy is the nickel back. Price has moved over to the left defensive end. 3rd down and 7. Chapman is the 3rd receiver. Caught by Utek. He bobbled the ball. That's loose. And that's picked up on the play by Samari Roll. If indeed it is a fumble. He gets some blocking downfield. And he is hit by Bobby Williams and brought down on another turnover by Cincinnati, running 34 yards. There go a flag. 2, 3, 4 flags. He threw the football, which you cannot do.
And you see Ed Reed there telling him about that.
Delay of game. After the return, number 22 throwing the ball. 5-yard penalty. Baltimore's ball, 1st down.
3 turnovers by Cincinnati today.
That's a good throw by Carson Palmer. Boy, he just never, I don't know that he ever had possession. He's trying to put that one in, it popped right out.
I think I'd challenge that, would you?
I would. But this just goes to show you about just being smart. Samari Roll's a good player, veteran player, but can't let the emotion get the best of you. You get the ball way down in there, they take a 15-yard delay of game penalty.
Cincinnati is challenging the ruling on the field.
You thought that last year, well, we'll talk about this when we come back about discipline and structure for this Baltimore Raven team. It's under review in 13-14 in the 3rd.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Well, we always talk about catching it the first time, and you can see right here, Ben Utek never really has possession of it. He's trying, he's fumbling with, he's trying to get it into his left hand, into the grip. It really just slips right out.
It's incomplete.
It's the right call. Never really had possession.
47-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 13:27.
At the very end of that play, Samari Roll throws it down, the long penalty. You thought watching that New England game a season ago, that was maybe the start of the unraveling of this team.
Yeah, I really felt like they lost their way. I feel like they became a little bit complacent. They got comfortable in the system, maybe too comfortable. And I don't think they were tied down enough. And I think that's one of the things that John Harbaugh has come in and really stressed. He stressed team. I think he's brought in more structure and discipline to the organization. And it's reflective, certainly, in the play of this defense in the first half.
Nonetheless, they got a punt. Incomplete pass to Utek. It's 4th down right now. On figures is back at about the 10-yard line, and Larson to punt it. Hit a Bengal and down by Holt at the 3. 43-yard punt, 13-17 in the 3rd. Baltimore's offense takes the field for the first time in the second half. Bengals just punted 9 possessions and 6 punts, plus 2 turnovers. From the 7-yard line, 1st and 10. After begins this series defensively on the defensive line and makes the stop right there on rookie Ray Rice. It's a gain of about 2 to the 9.
It's a good look at Keith Rivers, #1 draft pick out of USC, and they really like Keith Rivers. He played in a very similar system at USC, very instinctive, and has Marvin Lewis told us last night he's way ahead of the curve.
2 tight ends, 2nd down and 8. Ethan with a good block for Flacco. That is caught by LaRon McClain. Hit by Rivers and down by Marvin White, the safety, to the 20-yard line. Catch and run of 11 yards and a Baltimore first down. And maybe even more importantly, Rich, some breathing space.
Yeah, you just watch this throw from Joe Flacco, and it's never going to be perfect, but he has the ability to make throws on the move from awkward body positions. Kind of a scary throw out to the flat, but he put it in a position where only LaRon McClain could make the catch.
Fanene now comes in on the defensive line for Cincinnati.
He was given a sideline warning.
You just got to keep reminding the young quarterback, good decisions. Don't hold on to the football. Let's not take any sacks. And most importantly, no turnovers. The defense is playing too good right now.
Wilcox, the 2nd tight end. Timeout Flacco. Something happened there. He was not comfortable from the moment he got under the center, Jason Brown. 11:52 to play in the 3rd. Baltimore burns their first timeout. Baltimore on top on a 42-yard touchdown, double reverse by the wide receiver Clayton. They've got it now for the first time in the second half. McClain just caught it and ran 11 yards. The 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Timeout. Wilcox comes wide, one of the tight ends. This is the backfield. Good block by Gaither. Ray Rice. He is brought down on the play by D'Hani Jones. Gain of 7 to the 27 to JB in New York.
Kevin and Rich, first series for New England in the second half. Matt Castle takes him 11 plays, 80 yards, 6:14 off the clock. Sammy Morris, 5-yard TD run, 14-3. Brody Coyle, right shoulder contusion. He's out. Damon Hewitt in his place. Back to Kevin and Rich.
So a 19-game regular season win streak. Going back to late 06 on the line. JB, thank you for New England. They are tough. 2nd down and 3. In there and brought down by Thornton. Meager gain of 2 yards up to the 29-yard line. The Cincinnati defense has the new coordinator. Chuck Bresnahan gone, Mike Zimmer is in. But sometimes the language doesn't carry over from one coordinator to the next.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer felt it was important to bring his own terminology. He felt this was a young group. They could learn it quickly enough. And the thing that they're doing, they've been put in some bad situations in the first half, been good on 3rd down. The problem is stopping the run.
3rd and 1. Flip to Rice. Dancing with Jackson. And knocked down at about the 31-yard line on the play by the other linebacker who just came in. That is Johnson. It's a gain of 2. They do get the first down on the play. Brandon Johnson makes the stop 3 years out of Louisville.
Well, that was all Ray Rice. I mean, that play was well defended, and he just makes defender miss in the open field. And I like what I've seen so far from Ray Rice. He has a low center of gravity. But I think he's one of those backs. The more touches he gets, the more effective he'll be.
Castile comes in as a 5th defensive back because of the 3 receivers. 1st down and 10. Rice up the middle. And brought down by Jackson. Gain of 4 up near the 35-yard line. So for the language for this defense of Cincinnati, can you give me an example of what it might have been called under Bresnahan and what Mike Zimmer uses now for on a typical play?
Yeah, and he said we're still struggling with that a little bit. When I refer to 2 sky coverage, that might have been the old cover 8. And so there's some confusion right now with the secondary and some of the linebackers. But Mike says it's a process. They're working through it. He thinks overall it'll be a more efficient way for them to go.
Harris is on that defensive line. Orion Harris for Cincinnati, 2nd down and 6. Here comes Thornton. And LaRon McClain has it again. 1st down, hit by Rivers and driven out of bounds near midfield at the 48-yard line. A catch and run of 13 yards by McClain on the heels of an 11-yard pass to McClain earlier.
Boy, there's no panic. You see him moving around. Watch him find McClain. Just nice job understanding the concepts in the passing game and where those outlet receivers are.
Management of the game. Cameron has put together a nice little package for him throwing today.
And he has to be pleased with the way Joe Flacco has performed so far.
8th play of the drive, 1st down and 10. McClain, no place to run right there. Pecco among others with the avalanche of defenders on him. It's a loss of a yard. back to the 46. Now, here's a veteran play caller like Cam Cameron coming in, having a feel for a young quarterback, as he did with Rivers out in San Diego, and of course the young quarterbacks in Miami a year ago.
Well, just think about what Cam's been through. I mean, last year he had inexperienced quarterback with Cleo Lemon and John Beck. Now he comes here, he's got Troy Smith, he's got Bowler, he's got Flacco. It's tough, but he's done a nice job preparing Joe Flacco.
2nd down and 11.
Oh, he missed it late.
Outside, he hits that receiver, Demetrius Williams, for a meager gain. A gain of about 3. Back up to the 49 as Terry is hobbled a bit on that offensive line, the right tackle for Baltimore.
Here's what you're going to get. This is a staple throw in this system, and what happens is he's just late getting here. You just watch the receiver up top. He's open. He's open. Now you got to give it to him, but he's late getting back there, and that's all part of the process of working through the progressions more quicker and more efficiently.
Antoine Odom has come in as the right defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. Castile is the nickelback, 3rd down and 9. Heap is back to block. Flacco caught. 1st down, Mason right in front of Castile, the nickelback. He picks up 11 on 3rd and 9. Last year, a career year for the one-time Pro Bowler, Derek Mason. Pickup of 11, 1st down.
And this is the matchup they want. Derek Mason, their best receiver, on Cincinnati's 4th corner, Castile. I mean, that's a mismatch, and that's the matchup that Joe Flacco wants.
There's a nice rhythm to this drive for Baltimore.
And again, his footwork looks good. He looks smooth. He's getting away from center, and the ball's coming out quick.
1st and 10. Rice. Right up the middle of the teeth of the defense of Cincinnati, brought down by Dorian Harris, who was waived by New Orleans not too long ago. Gain of about 6 yards on the play. Spot him at the 35.
And Mike Zimmer has to be uncomfortable. I mean, one of the priorities for this defense, aside from stopping the run, was to be able to apply pressure on the quarterback. Just 22 sacks a year ago. That was last in the National Football League. That's why they went out and got Antoine Odom. They're not getting enough pressure on Joe Flacco.
Williams, the 3rd receiver. Castile, the 5th defensive back, just put in. 2nd down and 4, and a drive that began back at the 7. Rice. Brought down on the play, a 2nd consecutive tackle made by Harris, and it's a gain of a yard. We have not seen Willis McGahee today, although he suited up for Baltimore.
Well, John Harbaugh told us there was a concern. You don't want to throw Willis McGahee out there when he didn't have any carries in the preseason. You don't want to get him knocked around. The conditioning obviously has to be a concern.
3rd down and 3. Boy, the composure and just the checkdowns for Flacco. We've seen it all game long.
Cam Cameron is right here, and he's actually he's talking to him. He's talking to him on the sidelines.
Flacco knocked away beautifully on the play by Leon Hall. It was intended for Demetrius Williams. He had that radio helmet is something for Flacco, brand new. Didn't have that in college.
And that takes a while as well, just to be able to get comfortable with the mechanics of it all. But you just watch this throw. It's got to be out in front. Demetrius Williams had a chance there. Pretty good coverage by Leon Hall, but location's so important.
Now they're going to go for it on 4th and 3. So they're not even really huddling, as we've seen this a lot. When they got that rhythm, they don't want Cincinnati, I guess, to make any substitutions.
Yeah, I mean, this makes things difficult for Mike Zimmer now. He can't go through his substitutions, can't dial up as many blitzes.
Timeout, Baltimore. So that radio helmet thing gets to be a little bit of a concern.
It is. It's an issue. And the timeout situation now, Baltimore has used 2 already in the 2nd half.
They're going to go for it on 4th and 3. If it were going to try a field goal, 52 yards for Stover, perhaps a bit out of his range.
Yeah, and they're not playing scared, and they haven't been conservative. You have to like the play selection. The other thing is their defense is playing so well, and they have confidence that defense can make a stop.
4th and 3 after the Baltimore timeout. Blitz is on, knocked away. Beautiful coverage on the play by the linebacker, Brandon Johnson. They got him as a free agent from Arizona. Comes in a nickel situation, so on downs, Baltimore gives it over. Flacco can't convert. Palmer coming up, 5:23 in the 3rd.
Talk about a wake-up call. I had a heart attack.
Business lines to get these great deals. Verizon Wireless.
Some guys have all the luck.
Hi.
Half
Half Men, CBS premiere Monday.
Baltimore began that last drive at the 7. They couldn't convert on 4th and 3, so they turn it over to Cincinnati, but they do flip the field. On the 34-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Bengals. Divins is on the defensive line, a rookie out of Tennessee State, undrafted and recently cut by San Diego. Perry's in the backfield. He got the fake, and they're chasing the quarterback Palmer. The pressure was applied by Marcus Douglas.
Uh-oh, I don't know. There wasn't anyone in that area.
Let's go back to that 4th and 3 for the Ravens.
Well, here's a great example of Cam Cameron's use of personnel groups and formations. They got 3 wide receivers up here, but here's the matchup they want. They got Todd Heap on Brandon Johnson, a linebacker. The pressure gets home. That's good coverage. Real good coverage by Cincinnati, but that is a good example of how Cam Cameron is trying to get the matchups.
Here's some no huddle now by Palmer.
Tempo changer.
2nd down and 10.
Oh, some confusion. Wow, they look out of sorts.
Chad Johnson has only been thrown to 3 times today. He has not caught a pass. It'll now be 3rd down and 10. Boy, confusion is a perfect word to use for that play.
And Kevin, you mentioned this in the open, the fact that the receivers have not had a lot of work with Carson Palmer in the preseason. TJ Hushmanzada did not play at all. Chad Johnson, just the 1 game. The rhythm, the timing in the passing game is just not there.
Frank Walker is coming as an extra defensive back. There are 5 defensive backs, and Antoine Barnes, a linebacker, is back in coverage. See him back here, number 50? There he is. He's a linebacker back in coverage. Now he comes up 3rd down and 10.
From depth.
Oh, they got Chad Johnson. He's got the 1st down. He was whacked by Roll. He takes it down to the 43. Johnson has converted 30 straight 3rd down receptions to 1st downs, going back to 06.
And here's the no huddle.
Picks up 23.
Tempo. And you see the players coming on and off the field. It's a problem right now. They're trying to get lined up. Now, this is where Carson Palmer is at his best. They need to start dialing up the plays and picking up the tempo.
Bengals have missed their last 7 3rd downs till that right there, 1st and 10. Almost picked off by Suggs. They were looking for TJ Hushmanzada, who is complaining that he was interfered with. And Suggs saying, bring it on. 2nd down and 10.
And that's the kind of matchups that the Bengals want. They want to get TJ matched up on a linebacker like Terrell Suggs. He has to win that battle.
Utek is in the slot, Perry in the backfield. 2nd down and 10. Palmer does a pretty good job with this no huddle, doesn't he?
Yeah, they live in this world. They work it, they rep it all the time. They're very comfortable, whether it's at home or on the road with the crowd noise.
Divins on that defensive line for Baltimore. This is Perry. He works his way to about the 40-yard line. Brought down by Nada, who didn't play a lot in the preseason because of injury. That is a gain of 4. He's down to the 40.
You know, as bad as this offense has played in the 1st half, I mean, they're putting together a drive here. They're in the plus side of the field, and they're only down by a touchdown. I mean, they're right back in this game. Carson Palmer, the thing that you love about a veteran like this, he's not going to become unraveled. He's got a great deal of poise. He's been through a lot of fires during his career.
6 defensive backs, 3rd down and 6 from the 40. Kelly has come in, as has Watson at the side of Palmer.
See all the help here? These safeties and corners working in unison to get help on the outside receivers.
Price was in his face. He dumps it off to Chapman. They blow that dead. I think it was a delay of game.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty.
They just can't have it.
Now, you've run this no huddle a lot of your career. What are the mechanics for a guy like Palmer in a noisy building like this?
Well, the big thing we talked about, he wants his offensive line to get set. That forces the Ravens to kind of show their hand. Basically what he's going to do, he's going to preview the secondary. He's going to see whether or not there's some single coverage out there. Is it 2-deep coverage? A lot of times, if it's a 6- or 7-man box, he will run the ball. If it gets to be a single high safety, he will throw it.
7 defensive backs. And watch these guys right up there because they have been doing a terrific job blitzing 3rd and 11. Here comes Johnson. Price is chasing Palmer. He's got to get to the 34. And out of bounds he goes at the 36. Chased out of bounds by Corey Ivy. It is a scramble of 9 on 3rd and 11, bringing up 4th down at about 2.
And I tell you, this is not what you expect from Carson Palmer. He's not a guy that's usually going to pull the ball down and run it, but he is resilient, and he's just trying to make a play with his legs. Look at him. Look at that effort by Carson Palmer, reaching for the first down.
Glenn Holt has come in as an extra receiver, joining Chad Johnson and T.J. Hurst-Gonzalez. On the defensive line, they got Suggs and Price and Jarrett Johnson, and Nada has come back in. And a timeout taken. Cincinnati burns their first of the second half with 2:53 to play here in the 3rd. Big call coming up here for the Bengals as they're moving. Let's go to JB in our CBS studio.
Kevin and Rich, Damon Hewitt in for the injured Brody Croyle. Hewitt, 10 plays, 63-yard drive, a bullet to Dwayne Bowe, 13-yard strike. Hewitt, 4 for 4, 33 yards and a touchdown. They've narrowed the gap with New England, 14-10 in the 4th. Back to Kevin and Rich.
JB, get used to Bowe. He led all NFL rookie receivers a season ago in receiving yards and receptions. He's out of LSU, and they love his upside.
How about Herman Edwards and the boys holding their own against the Pats?
And no Tom Brady in that game.
That makes a big difference.
Is there a defense in the NFL which has more looks, more sub-packages than this Baltimore defense?
No, they have it all. I mean, they have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-man fronts. They have zone blitzes, man blitzes. They have all-out blitzes, and that's what you have to prepare for. It's usually never 2 looks that are the same.
4th down and 2. Shovel pass. Oh, what a great read defensively. Watson is smothered. Coming through with a terrific play was Jarrett Johnson. And on downs, it goes back to the Baltimore Ravens. Johnson is the guy that took Adalys Thomas's place when he went as a free agent to New England. Watch 95.
I'll tell you what, this may seem absurd, but I love the call. They were expecting pressure, and sometimes it's like 2 ships passing in the night. But that's just a great job, a good alert play by Jarrett Johnson on the end of the line of scrimmage, sealing and recognizing the shuffle pass.
Only 2-time captain in the history of Alabama football. On downs, it goes back over to Flacco, 1st and 10, 36. He's got McClain in the backfield, and he is hit by Thornton, slips away right there, and was whacked by Dhani Jones after a gain of 3, pinballing his way up to the 38-yard line as we swing it back to our studios in JB. Don't forget, JB, these Jets have had Miami's number. They've won 4 straight and 7 of their last 8. And a player is down for Cincinnati. We talked about the conditioning issues earlier in the game with the Heat. Not a lot of reps. This is very common the first couple weeks of the season. Down is Dhani Jones.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, it was always one of my concerns, particularly, as you said, Kevin, in September. You know, a lot of these veteran players play 8, 10, 12 plays in a game. Maybe they'll play a quarter. And what happens is your body is not prepared to play 60 minutes of football and to play 75 plays.
Here come the IVs. They're going to take him right to the locker room.
Yeah, he's probably cramping up. And you do everything you can during the week to make sure you hydrate. And it's not a question of on Friday or Saturday night. These guys begin on Monday and Tuesdays, pumping the Gatorade, pumping the water, pumping the fluids, making sure that they're ready to rock and roll on Sunday.
51, Corey Mays will take his place. Played a lot of special teams for Cincinnati last year. Began with New England, then he was waived last season off the New England practice squad. And so Corey Mays out of Notre Dame will be in place of Dhani Jones. It is 2nd down and 7 on the 39.
Lorenzo Neal, huh?
Yep, he's been back in 4th in this game. McClain the fake to him.
Open.
Good block by Yanda. Look at Yanda with the blocking for Flacco, who has to throw it away. They went for Neal, the 4-time Pro Bowler, and he couldn't get it. Covered by Jackson. 3rd and 7. I've been impressed with this very young offensive line of Baltimore. They've got 3 second-year players and 2 fourth-year players.
And the protection's been solid. Look how much time Joe Flacco has, but it's just uncertainty. And again, it takes time. The process, the development of a young quarterback, it doesn't happen overnight. The reads, the progressions, the verbiage, the terminology, it's all new learning, and it takes a while for a young quarterback.
Odom is at the right defensive end. Rucker has moved inside. Castillo taking the place of the injured David Jones, who's playing the nickelback. Demetrius Williams is the third receiver. 3rd and 7. Bobbled and caught by Clayton. He was tackled by Jonathan Joseph. He's got the first down. It's a pickup of 8 on 3rd and 7. And Joseph is down. Flag is down on the play, and the clock at 1:54.
Illegal contact, number 54, defense, penalty is declined, first down. Correction, it was defensive holding.
And there's no 54 on the defense, or 64 on the defense.
That ball must be slick. You see that ball coming out there a little bit from Mark Clayton. But good accuracy by Joe Flacco, and that's one of the things that quarterbacks usually struggle with, and a lot of it has to do, Kevin, with footwork issues, the speed of the game. They're learning new concepts and reads and things like that, but also the complexity of the defense. It's hard.
Well, you kind of thought watching tape that Flacco was almost better in the shotgun than he was under center.
Well, you think back to his career at the University of Delaware, he spent the majority of the time in the shotgun, and when you watch the preseason tape, he looked much more comfortable, much more fluid in the gun than he did under center. In fact, you watch some of his footwork, he's not getting away as quickly or with depth in a lot of his drops.
It is a first down run by McClain, hit by Jackson, again tackled by Castillo on a gain of 4, spun around to the 49-yard line. Well, there's been no McGahee today, so the rookie Rice has had a lot of carries, as has McClain. And Rice has carried 16 times, McClain 7. 23 carries. You thought what, between 25 and 27 would be needed?
Yeah, and they're going to use both of them again because they don't have Willis McGahee, so they have that 1-2 punch. But I like the fact that they can use LaRon McClain. And the other thing is, he's not bad coming out of the backfield, running routes, and even mixing in a screen once in a while.
It's 2nd down and 6. Neal in the backfield.
Corner blitz right here. Here it comes.
Leon Hall. See if Neal picks it up. He does. Up the middle comes Thornton. That's caught by Derek Mason. Right in front of the nickelback Castillo. Taking the place, as we mentioned before, of David Jones. The gain to the 37. 17-yard pickup and a first down.
And that's one of the hardest blitzes for a quarterback to see. And what happened there, the problem is Leon Hall showed it early, and Joe Flacco knew it was coming. He slides to his right, and he kicks out the comeback to Derek Mason.
You must really appreciate the tempo and the rhythm of this offense and the play calling by Cam Cameron.
And I tell you what, Cam Cameron is doing a great job. He's continuing to run the ball, but they're doing a good job on the early downs, so they're not getting behind on the down and distance in 3rd down.
McClain in the backfield, 1st and 10.
Oh.
Rivers falls. Here comes the rookie Flacco. Look at this. Look at the big man run with the block downfield by Clayton.
You talk about unexpected good fortune. Wow. Amazing, Kevin. You know, here's a guy that's not known for his ability to run the ball, and not only that, it's a busted play. It's a busted play. They had the end around. He must not have sent the motion. He realizes it early and does the next best thing, pull it down and make a play with his legs.
17-3 Baltimore, a 6-play, 64-yard drive. Could his NFL debut have been scripted any better? Flacco has been terrific.
I'll tell you what, when you run the ball like that, that's how you win over a crowd. You see Mason, he's supposed to get the ball. I don't think Flacco ever sent the motion. And now watch the blocks downfield. I mean, look at Mark Clayton. He gets the block, and now watch Joe Flacco reach for the end zone. I mean, he showed me something there. I didn't think he could run like that. This guy's 6'6", 230 pounds.
I don't think he knew he could run like that, too. When you have Rivers chasing you, you're going to run fast.
Boy, this place is falling in love with Joe Flacco. You can just feel the energy in this stadium.
Well, his demeanor, and that's what they told us all this week about this rookie out of Delaware, a 1AA school, the former 1AA. His demeanor, his calm in the pocket, that's the one thing they talk about. You hear that about a lot of guys, but you don't see it sometimes on Sunday. Today we've seen
Well, here's a guy that's taken advantage of opportunities throughout his young career. And You know, they're really hoping that Joe Flacco can finally be the answer at quarterback here in Baltimore. I mean, the one thing that has really held this team back over the years, Kevin, and you and I have seen it, is lack of production and consistency from the quarterback position. That's why they went out and drafted Joe Flacco in the first round.
So the wide receiver on a double reverse. Clayton had a touchdown run of 42 yards at the late stages of the first quarter. Flacco runs in from 38 right there. The quarterback on a busted play. And the ensuing kickoff, and Holt 3 yards deep will bring it out for the Cincinnati Bengals. Hit by Bryson. And whacked on the play by Antoine Barnes. A return of 24 yards. Some shoving after the play. And there is a division rivalry between Cincinnati and Baltimore. And now the Bengal offense goes out with some horrible numbers following Carson Palmer and his group and trailing 17-3.
I'll tell you what, that is shocking. Just 38 yards of total offense.
There have been a couple turnovers. Last time Cincinnati had it, they lost it on downs. Another good-looking drive by Flacco. 38-yard touchdown run. And now let's see what's up Carson Palmer's sleeve from the 22. Quiet day for the two Pro Bowl wide receivers. Perry is in the backfield. 1st and 10. Incomplete for Hushmanzada. McAllister covered. Now that looks like one of those plays because you haven't had a lot of rhythm and time in practice.
Yeah, it looked like T.J. Hushmanzada was actually surprised by it. And the thing that you're seeing, though, Ed Reed is doing a wonderful job. I think he's done such a good job getting everybody settled back there, getting everybody lined up. I think it's been an emotional lift to this team. They didn't know whether or not he was going to play coming to the stadium today.
2nd down and 10. Price is in there. Here comes Jarrett Johnson. That's batted down. And I think Nada may have gotten a hand on it. He was right in the grill, and now he has a little bit of a conversation with Chris Perry. We talked early on about that comfortable area for Palmer to pass in.
And he hasn't had it all day. I mean, he's been forced to move around, and that's what Rex Ryan told us. He said, listen, this guy can really pick you apart if he gets comfortable back there. We have to disrupt him early, and they refer to it as getting him off the spot. That spot at about 8 to 10 yards where he sits back there, trusts the protection, and dials him in. He's been forced to move around.
6 defensive backs. Chapman is the 3rd receiver, 3rd and 10. Watson is back there to block. Palmer almost intercepted by Suggs, incomplete. They were looking for Hushmanzada. You know, Suggs has been on Hushmanzada a lot today.
Wow, they've both played very well.
At the end of 3, it's Baltimore 17-3. Seventh 3 and out for Cincinnati. They've had it 11 times and 7 punts. A couple turnovers. They're going to punt right now. Flacco has been the story of the game. Rookie from Delaware has run a touchdown in himself from 38. He has managed the game well. Flacco 13 of 26, no picks and over 100 yards thrown. Larson the punt. Lamont Figures is back at about the 29. That's the fair catch. He's given that at about the 34, 35, 43-yard punt. 14:52 left in the game. Flacco and the Raven offense back out onto the field. Well, look at our two quarterbacks today.
Yeah, understanding. We talked to him the other day, Kevin, about the keys to the game. Understanding what you have around you. We were talking to him. Rex Ryan walked in. I said, hey, this is your best friend. He's going to heat them up. He's going to attack them. He's going to get you turnovers in field position. And then, of course, you got the running backs. You got the running game, the offensive line. Just don't make mistakes, and that's what he's done a good job of today.
Playing in the backfield, 1st down and 10. Flacco, they come at him, and they go with Neal, Lorenzo Neal, and a block from Jason Brown. And then he steamrolls Corey Mays. A catch and run of 13. A 1st down by Lorenzo Neal, signed near the end of training camp. 3-time All-Pro player.
And screens are great. And watch Joe, he draws the rush, and he gives Lorenzo Neal. Now watch Lorenzo Neal at the end of this. I mean, he is a bowling ball. I mean, he'll knock you down. You see Corey Mays, he takes the brunt of that blow.
Fanene playing the right defensive end this series, or at least to begin it for Cincinnati. 1st and 10, 48. Again around, this is McClain. Ron McClain then was tripped up by Fanene, and they say he fumbled the ball. It's loose at the 44. Was he down, and was it indeed loose?
The official at the top called him down. See him right here.
They got Marvin White from a safety position right at the bottom of that. Gain of 6 as it stands right now to the 46-yard line.
They've done a nice job interchanging LaRon McClain and Ray Rice, resting these backs, and then on an occasion, like you saw the previous play, bringing in Lorenzo Neal, getting him involved in the screen. So a good use of the personnel from the Ravens in terms of the running backs, making sure they don't get worn down.
Rice is in, 2nd down 4. Rice, big block by Gaither. Runs outside. Pecco brings him down. Gaither slow to get up. Gain of 3. And they'll mark him at the 43-yard line.
Well, Kevin, we talked about this offensive line. They're solid down the middle with Brown and Grubbs and Yonda, but there was some concern about how well these tackles would hold up, Terry and Gaither. And, you know, both of them missed most of training camp, but they've done a nice job today. They've given Joe Flacco plenty of time in the protection, and they've really worn people out in the running game. I mean, they're big bodies. I mean, there's Gaither. He's 6'9". He's 6'9", and Adam Terry's 6'8". That's a reason why Joe Flacco's 6'6", so he can see over those big tackles.
Wilcox, the 2nd tight end, 3rd down and 1. Timeout Flacco.
Well, that's their last timeout.
It is. Baltimore is out, coming at 12:40 of the 4th quarter. Flacco's got a touchdown run, and they lead 17-3. Baltimore just used their final timeout. 3rd down and 1. They had completed the last 2 3rd and 1s. Terry moves over now to help on that left side.
It's an overload up top. There it is.
It is McClain. Blocked by Yonda. Look at them move the pile. And Terry, who moved from the right tackle to the left side, watches McClain pick up 9 on 3rd and 1. Yonda with the block. 1st and 10, 34.
And this is the unbalanced line. You're going to see right here, this is Wilcox, and they have the 2 tackles to the left. Obviously, they want to run to the left. Cincinnati not good enough in making the adjustment, and now you give up a big play on 3rd down. The unbalanced line, 2 big tackles, Terry and Jared Gaither. That's a lot of weight on that one side. Here it is again, same formation.
With the 2 tight ends and McClain in the backfield. 1st down and 10. McClain, Yonda another block along with Lorenzo Neal. Following his way into Thornton at about the 30-yard line on a gain of 4.
Boy, they are getting some movement downfield. I mean, they are getting some push, and this is what the Ravens want to do. Now you see Lorenzo Neal in there. They want to wear on you. They want to pound you and wear you out. Put those big tackles, let them go beat up on you. And that's what they're doing right now.
Tahani Jones has just come back in the game. He was hit in the head. He went to the locker room. He's just come back in for Mays. 2nd down and 6. We'll look at Cam Cameron. Rucker has taken the place of Fanene at the right defensive end. O'Neal playing the wing. McClain in the backfield. He was hit by Jackson and then whacked by Pecco on that 2nd and 6. He picks up 7, gets another 1st down. This offensive line has shown so much character today.
And just watch this. This is a good alert play by McClain. Watch him stay in bounds, keep the clock running. But the thing that Cam Cameron is really known for, I mean, he knows how to take the air out of the ball. What I mean by that is he knows how to take time off the clock, really batten down the edges and pound the ball. They did it so many times with LaDainian Tomlinson out in San Diego.
Terry goes back to the left side, 2 tight ends. 1st down and 10. Rice is in, gets the pitch. Oh, and he fumbled the ball. The rookie fumbled the ball. And it's picked up by Jonathan Joseph. Only Flacco to beat. And look at now what the Cincinnati Bengals have done. They're back in business. The rookie fumbles. 65-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Jonathan Joseph, his 2nd career touchdown.
Wow, and this is unfortunate. You just see Ray Rice, I mean, he knows he's going to get hit. I mean, and then Joseph right there to make the play, but I mean, just ball security. You know you're moving the sticks. You know you're leaning on him. You got to take care of the ball high and tight. Mistake by the rookie, Ray Rice.
And now the extra point coming up from Shane Graham. Jonathan Joseph, full-time starter a season ago, former #1 pick out of South Carolina. And a new game in Baltimore with a ton of time to play, and Baltimore out of timeouts, and a hungry Carson Palmer on the other sideline. Joseph the TD. Cornerback Jonathan Joseph just scooped up a fumble by rookie running back Ray Rice of the Baltimore Ravens, and raced for Cincinnati 65 yards and makes it a touchdown ball game with plenty of time to play.
Boy, you got to think that Carson Palmer and TJ Hushmanzada and Chad Johnson, I mean, now they have some bounce in their step. They realize that they're right back in this game.
Graham has it teed up, and Yamon Figures is back at about the 1-yard line for Baltimore. With a little breeze at his back, they'll leave it there. Kickoff by Graham. So now we'll get a test of some character for this Baltimore offense. Flacco, the rookie, takes him back out in 10-15 to play.
And get a stop. 3 and out.
What'd you say the best friend for Flacco today will be the defense, his own defense?
Yeah, and you have to realize that punting is not the worst thing for this football team.
Cook to punt. He sent the return, looking up into that bright Maryland sun, is Antonio Chapman from the 31. Bryson can't make the tackle. And finally, he is knocked out of play by the tight end, Daniel Wilcox. It is a return of 11 yards on a 57-yard punt. So Joseph has had a nice game, including the punt, the fumble return for a touchdown.
Well, he's really been a difference maker. You see him, the effort has been outstanding from Jonathan Joseph. I mean, he's been flying around, diving, making plays in the open field. And then, of course, the instinctiveness, picking up this ball, scooping it up, and he's off to the races for a 65-yard touchdown. That really has got this football team right back in this game.
Bannon, Nada, Price, the defensive line of Baltimore. Form the linebacking core. It is 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line. UTEC in motion. The fake to Perry. Wide open down the middle in the seam. TJ Hushmanzada, and finally they bring him down. DeJuan Landry makes the stop. A strike of 24 yards. A Cincinnati first down to the 33.
And that's where they're having their success, down the middle of the field. They're getting so much double coverage out here on the outside lanes that the holes have been down the middle. Carson Palmer doing a nice job finding TJ Hushmanzada down the middle of the field.
And they're in the no huddle. 1st and 10. Perry, sacked up by Scott. Down he goes at the 33. Also hit by Suggs on a gain of 2.
And this is where the experience pays off, the experience of a Carson Palmer. He didn't panic. They've hung with the game plan, and now they've got themselves in a position. Carson Palmer sorting through all the information at the line of scrimmage, trying to get him into the best possible play.
They put in another defensive back, Corey Ivy, so they got 5. They take out Bannon, 2nd down and 8. Palmer hit by Nada, and that pressure makes that pass go wide to TJ Hushmanzada, who is covered by Ray Lewis on the play.
And these hits begin to take their toll. And Haloti Ngata, I'm telling you something, he is a load. And he's not necessarily known as a pass rusher, but he plays with a lot of energy and effort. And the thing I like about him, he doesn't take plays off.
7 defensive backs, 7 of them for Baltimore. 3rd down and 8. Chapman becomes the slot receiver. He becomes the 3rd receiver for quarterback Carson Palmer. In the backfield is Watson. 3rd and 8. They need the 24. Watson. Levi Jones a block. Rivers the block. Ray Lewis the tackle. Close to a first down on the run. And Corey Ivy is down, holding on to his knee. At the 24, he is in extreme pain. Ivy was the one a season ago who, when McAllister went down and when Roll went down, he took the place of those corners and played and started 14 games.
Ooh.
He looks in incredible pain. Corey Ivy, undrafted out of Oklahoma, 3rd year with the Ravens. He's played for St. Louis. Tampa Bay originally began as a practice squad player with the New England Patriots.
And just watching the right of your screen.
I don't think we're going to catch what happened there. They're short of the first down, by the way, and it's going to be 4th down and about a half foot.
Well, we talked about this defense, Kevin, the way they've played today, the importance of them getting off to a fast start but remaining healthy. I mean, they had way too many guys go down with injuries last year. They lost 31 games to starters with injuries. Players like Trevor Price, Ray Lewis, McAllister, Roll. They need this group to stay healthy to have the production.
They've brought in an extra offensive lineman, Scott Kustra. 4th and 1. If they try to field goal, it'll be a 43-yarder. 4th down and less than a yard. Kustra has come in. Coates has come in as the fullback. Perry is in the backfield. And the officials want to confer.
Oh, they're the wrong personnel in the field. You can see.
Please set the play clock to 23 seconds. 23 seconds.
Lamar Divins will come in on that defensive line. Grayson will come out for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, that really benefited the Ravens, that little snafu by the officials. It allowed Rex Ryan to make the substitution and get the extra defensive lineman in there. They were short.
It's a pretty important play. What would you call on 4th and a short play like this?
Well, you know what? You got to think they'll run it, and they've been doing a pretty good job with Chris Perry on the edges. Or do you move Carson Palmer out to the flat?
2 tight ends plus an extra lineman. 4th and 1. Perry. Oh, he was stuck. He was drilled. Nada got him. Also, Bart Scott and Ray Lewis, they went into the teeth of that Baltimore defense, and they could not penetrate. 2nd time. They've tried it on 4th and short in this half and come up empty.
Well, it's a mentality. It's a mindset. Ray Lewis told us yesterday, nobody runs the ball on us. It's disrespectful to even try. And you think about it, Kevin, 19 straight games they've not allowed a 100-yard rusher. They take pride in their run defense.
So now, with that great defensive stand at a critical juncture of the game on downs, it goes back to Baltimore's offense, 26, 1st and 10.
Too many wasted opportunities by that Bengals offense.
Terry now maneuvers onto the left side, the right tackle. Rice is in the backfield, 1st and 10. Wilcox is in. Rice is hit by Jonathan Joseph and brought down after a gain of a yard to the 26-yard line. And if you like CSI, Neal is in, the veteran, with Rice in the backfield, 2nd down and 9. Rucker is playing the right defensive end. And that is caught. It's grabbed by Clayton, who is hit by both Rivers and by Leon Hall, and a gain of 8. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Boy, Cam Cameron has done a good job anticipating what Mike Zimmer's going to do the opposite side. They bring a blitz, they block it up, and Joe Flacco knows right where to go with the football, but they are doing a good job in 2nd and long, anticipating pressures and down up some 7- and 8-man protection so that Joe Flacco can drop back and set his feet.
McLean is in, 3rd down and 1. McLean. Oh, Lorenzo Neal with a pile-driving block. It opens the door, and look at the run for a 1st down to the 45 on a gain of 10. Tackle was made in the secondary by White. They keep the drive alive. The clock continues to tick.
And you talk about following your fullback. Look at Lorenzo Neal cleaning up in the hole and allowing LaRon McClain to get that 1st down. Lorenzo Neal has blocked for a lot of 1,000-yard rushers. He knows how to get it done in the running game. Look at that neck. Look at that 20-inch neck.
1st and 10 from the 45. Again, no timeouts for Baltimore since he's got 2. Rice, the rookie. White got a handle on him, and he was finished off by Dexter Jackson. It's a gain of 7, and he's down to the 48-yard line.
This is where it's fun for an offensive line. You know you're going to run it. They know you're going to run it. Now it's just a question of attitude. And I'll tell you what, this offensive line for the Ravens today, they've done a phenomenal job. They've kept their young quarterback clean, and they've done a great job opening up some holes for these backs.
Heap is back in, and has been in for the last couple plays. Rice in the backfield, 2nd down and 3. Rice, Neal with the block, brought down by Rivers, hit by Jackson, but gain to the 42. And he picks up 6. He gets another first down. This has been impressive in a very important part of the game to run the ball like that right at Cincinnati.
And you couldn't have scripted it any better if you're Cam Cameron. You just watch the blocking and you watch the running by Ray Rice. Kevin, the next run, they're at 199 yards rushing right now. I mean, they're going to go over 200, and that's really what they wanted to do. Run the ball and limit the number of throws that Joe Flacco has.
Plane is in, 1st and 10. Rice is out with a little breather right now. Plane, another block by Neal. He really didn't have a block on the last play, and it was just a good cut inside by Rice. There's a gain of 2. It's down to the 40-yard line, and coming off that pile is Rusty Rucker.
And this is the way this football team was built offensively, the Ravens. They're a big offensive line. They run straight downhill at you. They're physical. They're all 330, 340-pound guys that lean on you and wear you out. That's the way Ozzie Newsome built this football team.
And Baltimore has run the ball without McGahee.
And they've done a phenomenal job. They've done a good job mixing in McClain, Lorenzo Neal, Ray Rice, all had carries today.
Terry moves from right tackle to the left side. Handoff on 2nd down and 8. McClain, look at him take a pile, and then eventually brought down by Brandon Johnson, among others. Gain of 5 inside the 35.
And Kevin, that's the difference right now between these two football teams. Defensively, the Ravens would never allow this to happen. On the flip side, the Bengals are just not deep enough. They're not strong enough down the middle to be able to stop the run consistently, and that's their problem. 206 rushing yards today for the Ravens. That is not going to get it done, particularly against a divisional opponent that you know coming into the game wants to run the ball.
And Cincinnati uses their 2nd timeout. They've got 1 remaining. You see Baltimore up there without a timeout left, and 2:59 to play in regulation. Now it's next. It'll be Andy Murray and Rafael Nadal in the men's semifinal. Then tonight, Serena Williams will take on Jelena Jankovic. And tomorrow, the winner of the Murray-Nadal match will take on Roger Federer in the men's championship in the U.S. Open. All on CBS, 3rd down and 3.
This is the 7th time today that Baltimore has been in 3rd and 3 or less because they've been efficient, they've been productive on the early downs.
McClain is in. Heap in motion. LaRon McClain. Another first down. Look at him. High step his way into the secondary. Brought down by the linebacker Johnson down to the 23-yard line. He picks up 13 on 3rd and 3. And the clock continues to roll.
And this is a clinic on running the football. We talked about the big offensive line. How about LaRon McClain? All 260 pounds of them. I mean, Kevin, they're just beating him up physically up front.
McClain, 2 years out of Alabama, where he was a team captain, had 11 starts last year, had only carried the ball coming into this season, had only carried the ball 8 times as a rookie. And today he's carried it 16 times. There's 17 right here on 1st and 10. He's down to the 20-yard line, picking up 2 yards on the play. Pecco, among others, make the stop. Well, final timeout taken by Cincinnati. Now they are out of timeouts, as is Baltimore. The clock will also stop at the 2-minute warning.
And I'll tell you what, when you're a guy like Carson Palmer and you're sitting here watching this, it makes you sick to your stomach. It's demoralizing. You know your defense can't stop him and give this offense a chance to get back out on the field. You look at those numbers for Carson Palmer. I mean, who would have thought that he would have had that type of a day, and then look at the production that Joe Flacco has had on the other side, and just goes to show you that experience isn't always the key. But I'll tell you, the numbers aren't flattering. I mean, 15 of 29, but the interception, the W, the way he's managed the game, the way he's carried himself has been really impressive.
So McClain, who carried it 8 times for a total of 18 yards as a rookie. When he was paired with McGahee, he has carried it today 17 times for 76 yards. Second down. McClain again. Just continues to carve up that defense. Tackle was made by Mays. It's a gain of 6. We've reached the 2-minute warning in Baltimore. Chad Johnson has had 1 reception today for 22 yards and had that jersey of Ocho Cinco taken away because the league mandated it early. More legal issues to clear. So we had to wear the Johnson uniform today. There you see Palmer. Look at the number for his career low passer rating. There's a 3rd and 2 coming up.
They got to him early and they forced him to move around. He was never comfortable.
McClain is in the backfield. He gets a first down here, which he does. That may seal it for the Baltimore Ravens. A gain of 4 to the 9. Cincinnati stopped them after the 4-yard gain. They have no timeouts to stop the clock. It continues to roll. That was the 11th play of the drive. It began back at the 26.
And Kevin, the Bengals offense, they ran only 5 plays in the 4th quarter. You talk about time of possession. The Ravens have had the ball 11 minutes and 17 seconds, while Cincinnati just 1 minute and 43. They've taken care of the football, they've run it, and they haven't given the Bengals offense any opportunities.
I know Flacco has been great. Here's a first down and goal. I know it's a great performance by Flacco, but LaRon McClain, who before this game only had 8 career carries, had 87 yards, 19 carries, and got 1 big 3rd down conversion after another.
And he ran hard. I mean, he really did a nice job. Look, you see the reaction from John Harbaugh. I'll tell you what, this football team, it hasn't been easy for John Harbaugh. This is a veteran football team, guys like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, but they admire and respect what he stands for. He's come in, he's changed things, he's instilled some different rules, some regulations, but he really wanted to bring back some of the discipline, some of the integrity, some of the consistency that he felt this organization needed.
Baltimore ran the final 7 minutes and 15 seconds off the clock. Palmer has one of the worst days of his pro career. And the rookie out of Delaware, Joe Flacco, gets a win in his NFL debut. Flacco had a 38-yard touchdown run. Clayton had a 42-yard touchdown run and a double reverse. Quiet day for Chad Johnson. And that is your final score. Coming up next, the U.S. Open men's semifinal. Rich Gannon, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Baltimore. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. We go to JB in New York after this.
And we welcome those of you who are watching Cincinnati and Baltimore to the NFL today here in New York. It was a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach getting it done for the Baltimore Ravens today, fellas.
Yeah, 2 rookie quarterbacks get their first win. Joe Flacco right here handing the ball to Derek Mason. He throws it to Mark Clayton. Mark Clayton's going to go down the sideline. Watch the missed tackles right here by the Cincinnati Bengals. He goes in for the touchdown. Baltimore goes up 7-0. And how about this one? Joe Flacco, he's going to scramble down the right sideline. I mean, where are the Bengal players? Now, folks, this is not slow motion. This is normal speed. Where are the Bengal players? 17-10, an embarrassment by the Cincinnati Bengals. Carson Palmer under 100 yards. The Baltimore defense, you say what you want, but I mean, basically, they won this football game. Joe Flacco played good. He didn't turn the ball over, which is key.
He played solid.
And he played solid. But that Baltimore defense, once again, it seems like it's a broken record. Every year, they shut down the Cincinnati Bengals. And today, listen, it's an embarrassment. That defense to look that way when Flacco runs for the touchdown, there's still a lot of work to be done in Cincinnati.
How does an offense with Carson Palmer, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson, who only had 1 catch between the 2 of them, how do they come up with 150 yards of total offense? That is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
No, it's not. It's not a good showing by Cincinnati. They got some issues down there. There's no question about it. And they showed up big time today. To have Flacco be able to do what he did against them and have the names that Shannon talked about. But you got to give credit now to Baltimore. Give credit right now to Harbaugh to getting that team ready to play. They had some adversity having that start a rookie quarterback. So they came up. They got the win. They did what they had to do. Hey, you know, it's something they can springboard from.
And there's going to be confidence with Flacco because he comes up with a win again. You know, big game, first start. You never expected that for a rookie. So. A lot of confidence for him.
And that's the bottom line. He gets a W. All right, folks, and we'll bring you up to speed with more highlights and scores.